Hello and welcome to the 2026 America's Continentals. This is Cascadia and we're already underway. My name is Andre from the Metropole Grid, and I'm joined by a long-time Netrunner player. Timmy, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're so happy to have you here.
So we're going to be diving in pretty quickly because the tournament is already underway. We're maybe 5 minutes into the match. Now, for those who don't know, Cascadia has been around for a couple of years now. I think 4 or 5 years. It's been a minute. And we have nearly 90 players showing up to play 8 rounds of Swiss today, 2 rounds of Swiss returning tomorrow for a top 16 cut. So very competitive event. We're diving right in here into the gameplay. I'm pretty sure that's what we're seeing on the screen right now. So we have two players. On the left, we have Cold Lava, who is generally an op head, but actually he's going to be playing on an Anarch side. We're pretty sure he's playing Glue at this point. And on the right, we have Bryce, who is playing op. And as soon as turn one, which you didn't see on camera, the iced remote server, which now looks like it's going to get chiseled down slowly, was holding a Reaper function that became a Regolith mining license, which is a pretty aggressive line. And I think we're going to see a lot more damage coming in from the corporation's deck.
Indeed. This is the first tournament right after the 26.08 ban list, which unbanned Speed Score Excavator.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of players are excited to try Ob now that it's been revitalized by a powerful new way to trash its cards every turn. Ob is actually the most represented Corp ID in this tournament at, I believe, 18 members.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like 45% of the field is playing Wayland alone. And while there's a lot of Bangoon today, which is really exciting considering the decklist of the week is op, clearly that's the big question mark today. So we'll see what players bring. I think a lot of people are watching intently in chat to see like what the op heads have cooked because Svigator is such a strong card.
Yes. It's so hard to trash at 4 trash cost, and
It's a
it
big
really
number,
keeps the
yeah.
corp afloat and gives them tons of options for return.
It's actually very likely that's what is in their new remote server. So we have a new card on the table. Again, I want to say that Timmy and I are both watching remote, so we're watching a VOD feed. The quality of the feed right now is struggling a wee bit, so we don't actually have a clear read on what all the cards are. So give us some clemency while we figure things out. Obviously, things will get better throughout the day. But we do have an Audrey, so we do want to trash cards, and the card on the remote server is not iced up, and could be a Spin Doctor, could be a Svi. Looks like we're gonna be checking the table. Spin Doctor looks like it's the res, so we're gonna get 2 cards. Now, I think that's a Lou. So if you let Lou trash that, Audrey charges, let alone Lou can kind of cycle a card forward. So we're just gonna pop that, remove it from the game. The cards I've shuffled back, I believe, was the Reaper function, which we know there's more than one in the list because we saw it through the shuffle. And then I think the second card was a Regolith.
This is looking like a bit of a grinder op list, trying
Yeah,
to
it looks like a
trying
big
to turtle
stack
up and
too.
deal a lot of
Like
damage.
kind of that deck looks more than 49, but maybe it's just double sleeved. I can't honestly tell. Notably too, also because we're in remote, there might be a lot of alt arts that neither you or we recognize. So we're gonna do our best on context clues to make that make sense. But Cold Lava on the left side, trying to figure this turn out, did come in from the East Coast. Again, we have 90 players here, great players from all over Americas and even further. Dropping a propeller, that's a cheap way to break through some barriers, and some barriers is what we expect on this remote server.
Yes, I believe the chiseled ice is a Maskarovka. I
I
don't
think
think I
so.
see any fire scanners on the chisel yet, though.
No, we haven't touched it yet. And so my read is early. We were talking before the stream started. It's like the Reaper function into the Regolith is a cool line, but you can also do some things like with like Zato or Mavirus. You can get some of these cards at instant speed, and we saw a bit of this just even like last month, where if you score an AZF, you can use AZF's text to go grab a card that does damage off the AZF score. So you can grab things like Fut, who can do at least 1 damage. You can grab Vera, who can do like kind of a filtered pseudo damage. And so these decks can actually like blow you up really quickly if you're not prepared for them.
Is that a hedge fund that the corp is playing?
It's kind of hard to tell. Kind of looks like it, yeah. I don't have a lot of pixels on this, but it looks like a hedge fund. It's going to get some 4 credits, and the money seems to be good. We'll see if we get forward. I do
Yes.
think Kolab is playing like again. We do see the Audrey, the sort of like mulch type list, which is all about trashing cards and pushing yourself forward. Against op, that can be tricky, and it might have been we'll see how that like plays out through the day because a lot of these op decks are really happy playing multiple Mavirus, sometimes even 3 Maviri, which that is not a great place to be relying on a virus breaker.
Mhm. However, if this op deck is on cards like Reaper function, it might also be more trying to be more horizontal, and
Mhm.
maybe it's having to adjust that game plan against Loop and playing more of a single remote plan.
Yeah, we've seen 5 ice so far. None of it tutored 4, but like the ice situation looks good. Again, I can't tell if that's a big deck or not. Thumbing through some of the cards in the hand, we fired an early Gachapon. Not clear what we removed from the game. I think a Fermenter was used at this point already, but we have a lot of options in the hand after using all of Anuka. Cookbook, I believe, is going to start cooking. So our viruses will come in with an additional virus counter, which again for Chisel, we're assuming Devil Charm as well is in this deck because I don't think Leech works with that. You need to have something that has that on and counter text.
Yes, that's right. There's no window to use Leech before Chisel occurs.
Looks like I think we're throwing out some cards. I think a Strike Fund might have been fed to Audrey just to get the credits clicklessly. Same as playing it functionally if you click for a credit. And going to be trading over again that upgrade or asset in the remote server. I can't tell what that green card is on top of the unresed card, but that's been sitting there for a couple turns. I don't know if it's just an upgrade getting ready for an agenda push or not. And I don't know if we've seen any agendas.
My guess it might be a wall to wall because it seems like he's
Oh,
advancing
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
dice on R&D or on HQ.
Yeah, yeah, that has to be it for sure. And we've just spun up a new remote server. If I'm not
Wow,
mistaken,
double
again, sorry,
iced.
the quality of the stream had double iced, and then we have something behind it. So we're really pushing. And a lot of these decks you're going to see today really need to protect this fee because this fee is actually super, super useful. But you just need to make sure that you can keep it firing every turn. Fly swatter, I think? No. I think we're just
Something
trashing
that
something.
trashed the Masquerovka. So maybe a
Looks like
Stavka,
it's an
maybe an
anvil,
Anvil.
actually. Yeah, an anvil's rezzed. So we're going to fire the anvil text, which means that we cannot break the subroutine. So looks like Cold Lava is going to have to trash one of his installed cards. That's going to produce a Hollow Man at instant speed in the second location, the second server. So while, this anvil is another cool way to fire obs text now that you don't have extract. This is just a credit loss and then trash one of your installed cards. And you cannot break this because we fired its text.
And the 2 cost searched up by Ob's ability is going to be a Hollow Man, it looks like.
That's a Hollow Man. So threatening to score on top of a card. The remote server is getting checked here. Flipping the upgrade. So we have a couple things we can trash here. We do believe it's a wall to wall. I can't tell what the upgrade is just yet. Looks like it's doing damage. Wait, what is this card? Oh, it's an Angelique. Okay.
Angelique.
Wow, this deck really does want to hurt. Again, we saw multiple Reaper functions. We're looking at Angelique. You have to watch out. Aziefs can now do usually about 3 damage at instant speed with Optrix. Usually it doesn't get worse than that, but it's very important to make sure you keep cards in hand. And sometimes just like holding Steel Skins in hand with Audrey can give you an interesting play pattern. Yeah, I want to be clear. It's just on the chat. Everyone's like Angelique. Currently, in the VOD that we're watching for the remote casting because of stream delay, it looks a fair bit more pixelated than your stream. Your stream is looking a lot better, so it's going to take us a bit. Remote check, I think that's a tithe. So it's going to be one more damage, and so much of this ice probably is going to be hitting people for small pings.
Yeah, Ob is so scary to face right now. It could be doing anything, and right now this Ob seems like it's doing everything. Uh, Lots of damage, lots of fast advanced threat, or never advanced threat, and so much
And
ice as well.
one damage hit a steel skin off of the tithe, pushing you forward. We did have 2 counters on the Audrey, so we can go through the second ice on the remote server. It looks like it's just a Kessleroid, so it's going to be 1 card. Card in the remote server. It's a small agenda. Kind of looked like a green mail, but I think we'll see once the stream delay goes through. But it looks like the Holloman is going to go down. So we cleared the whole table on Cold Lava's side, which is good. And it looks like we've survived any of the damage coming through. It is a green mail. So small agendas.
Yeah, I think Greenmail used to be pretty rare with an Ob, but now even if Ob isn't looking to forfeit the Greenmail, smaller agendas make more sense because the Mioshu threat. You can
Yeah.
put a Greenmail on the table, and if the runner steals it, it's just 1 point. Otherwise, you can double advance and then Mioshu to actually score 3 points in 1 turn.
So much of like single-sided Swiss, or sorry, more like Swiss in general, when it comes to closed deck lists, is trying to figure out what your opponent is on. So you're right. Like when you see that, maybe Mioshu makes sense. Green Mail also kind of makes you a bit scared of a BOAC face check on some board states and like things like Aziev. Looks like we're putting advancements and just scoring out an Aziev fast advance style. I think we must have slash and burn that. So it's going to knock some cards out of hand. Yeah, slash and burn. So there's 2 points in archives. We can trash the 1 cost card of
I
the Tithe if we want to get a Spin Doctor. It
Mhm.
looks like we're going to get a Fut to do more damage here. So this is the combo. Kessler gets taken down, and very importantly, Aziev has an additional cost to score it. So the Fut that will show up will be on the table to see the card, to see the score of the agenda.
So it looks like they're doing the play you predicted of dealing 3 damage with the Aziev.
Yeah, and this is the cool thing is like, sure, you have a slash and burn in archives. Technically, now if you want to run and take it, it's two more cards out of your hand because the FUT survives. You can always tank the anvil, but the thing is, if you tank the anvil can now trash the tithe to get the spin doctor to fix archives. Like you have a lot of these weird moving pieces that really try and pin down the runner.
Oh, that's a crazy fork. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Anvil can do so many cool tricks on this deck.
So we'll see how Cold Lava responds to this. Again, you can just tank it. We've seen, I think, only one Steel Skin so far. Thinking these Ender decks were not in Ashen World as much as the decks on Audrey. So like cards and deck at some point do matter. But otherwise, like this FUT needs to go down. But I'm assuming again, the order you do this is actually really important. FUT got the counter there, end of turn. Looks like we're gonna start Cold Lava by drawing up a wee bit.
Does Cold Lava have some draw tools? Looks
We've
like he's
seen
just clicking to draw.
Yeah, we've seen one Nuka so far. I think this list that Kolov has been playing classically spent a fair bit of influence on simul chips, which like makes a lot of sense with the Audrey flicker with the cookbook. So sometimes the card draw is a bit more constrained. Well, also we don't know if this is a 40 card deck or 45 card deck, and hit points will matter. Corporation's credits, I can't tell how many of those we have, if at all. But again, checking archives is just 2 damage.
Looks
Looks like
like
we
it's the
did the
play you.
line. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
I
the
mean, this is
Anvil
such
just lets him get a spin.
it's such a
It's
cool
amazing.
line. It makes you trash one of your cards too, and maybe you can just like forfeit a gourmand here. But yeah, it protects the agenda as much as the agenda you could have got before the FUT with consequence.
Yes. Admittedly, Ops board state no longer looks nearly as imposing.
Yeah.
He had 7 ice in play, and then it turned out to, I guess, all be cheap ice that the runner could get through, and half of it is gone.
I'm concerned about the money on the corp side because I actually don't know what that is. I think those stacks on the top right are just like the credit bank. I don't know if the corporation has credits here, which like it's kind of hard to bounce back. Extract was obviously a massive card. It's been banned for a while now, but I don't know if we're on armed asset protections or planograms or some way to bounce back from cheap credits. Like sticking a regolith would be good. I just don't know where you stick the regolith.
My guess is that he got most or all of the first regolith that he searched up.
Yeah.
And I think that might be 2 stacks of 5 up there.
You think that's his okay, yeah, if that's his money, I mean that's a good spot to be in.
Yeah, when they played hedge fund earlier, it seemed like they were adding
I
the
think you're
credits
right.
to that pool.
Yeah, because the credit just came off of that over the second install and from the anvil. So no, the money's actually
So the
good. So yeah.
so the corp has expended a fair amount of resources to score that SEF, deal a bunch of damage, but looks like it's a pretty even game.
Now the runner side has dropped a Keiko. That's going to be 2 credits a turn with Paladin to continue to set up our remote server. And we do actually have an armed asset protection, which you'd love to play that while you have the agenda still in the bin. I think this will probably give around 4 to 5 credits. We've seen upgrades, we've seen ice trashed, we've seen operations. So this should be just a good burst on this not super commonly played card.
Yeah, Ob is well positioned because they want to trash cards anyway, and that fuels the armed asset protection much more quickly.
So we're going to continue to draw through our deck here. No huge issues we have to deal with. There is a new card behind the now Anvil plus an ice server. You want to make sure you're never ending your turn with like only 2 cards in hand. That can be a disaster. Notably, the Spin Doctor, if you want to contest it, we'll see what gets shuffled back. Again, the FUD is probably only a 1 of in the deck. It is 4 influence, and we've seen 2 Reapers. We're expecting 3 Spin Doctors, maybe some Virus. Even things like an enemy that could come off of Tucana can make sense for a list like this that wants to do surprise damage.
Absolutely. It can be searched up with cards like Anvil as well.
Yeah, very very cool. Yeah, yeah. Getting off of the Anvil run is like such a good surprise. Looks like our fermenter is going to come down, supercharged, coming with 2 counters off the cookbook. So next turn, that's a click for 6, and this actually gives you money off of the paladin into the what's it called, Keiko.
Yeah, the runner's money engine is starting to hum along. I think these virus-heavy lube decks can often struggle with getting money, compensated by the fact that they don't need that much money to break ice. Uh, but against Wayland, the threat of measured response is so prevalent that I think Cold Lava is prioritizing getting their long-term money engines running so that he can survive measured response when threat 4 is reached.
So Spin Doctor is going to be contested. We don't want to let that fire to get an Audrey counter. So we're shuffling back. I believe we're going to be putting back the agenda that's still in the bin alongside a Holloman, which again is more influence to like try and get that game plan. I don't know if we're at a point where we're playing Kimberlite Field, which with Holloman, you can do some pretty mean stuff here, but is this a Tempo Reaper again?
I have
I
heard murmurings that the Scrubs team has been favoring a big ob deck that plays Kimberlite Field. So maybe we're
Yeah.
seeing that in action here.
Looks like we have a Tempo Reaper, so that's going to do some damage and produce a Holloman, which means you can score Aziev. And if Aziev can trash a 4 cost card, you can actually get a 3 coster with Vera if you have all the influence. So this is a play pattern that actually does 5 damage across multiple hits. It's like really cool if you can line this up. So we're going to install. We have the cash. We're going to spend 4 credits to get 2 advancements because it was installed from HQ. And if a third advancement here, again, we can maybe do some more. And I think that is an Aziev. Apologies on the VOD. But we have to trash something first before we score it. Wait, I can't tell what just happened. That card got
I'm
replayed.
also not sure.
I think it's not scored. I think we just have the counters on the back of it. I think it's just chilling in the remote server.
Okay, it looks like it might be a slash and burn that's being double advanced.
Yeah, like a slow push because this is all we have in our hand. And just saying like, hey, you have a like this server seems assailable unless it's a fly swatter, right? Like that outermost ice, we do have I think 3 Audrey counters, so you can get into this remote server. It looks like it's a
Yeah,
slab. Yeah. Okay. So either the wrong agenda was installed from hand, or the math was just off there. Which, like, hey, first round, this will happen. And so now we're gonna sail it. And it doesn't look like this needed or like was expected to have to be protected this turn with a fast demand. So we're charging the server. We have an anvil in front of it. I can't tell what that ice is just yet. Does it look kind of like a log jam? It's a it's just a flywheel. So that doesn't end the run at all.
wow. I wonder what the sandal is going to trash.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. You can always trash the agenda, which is kind of goofy. Yeah, you probably shouldn't. You can also trash like the upgrade to install an asset to trash the agenda, but there's no line here that gets a 1 coster that you can also trash this turn. So like you
If
can't
there's
get a
nothing
spin
better,
doctor.
I suppose you might as well trash the agenda and just make the runner waste an extra click. It's quite annoying.
Yeah, it might be right. I wonder if they commit to access like what else you can get with this. Like you can you get a trap in there? Angelique costs 0, so that's like kind of the spin doctor territory.
If Fat is in the deck, that could come back out.
Oh yeah, FUD's kind of cool. I think FUD is still in archives, but I could be wrong. It looks like we're just getting a. That has to be a
Wall
one
to
cost
wall?
card, right? Is it a wall to wall? Yeah, I think you're right. We saw that one earlier in the game. So we did lose the Holloman, which we did shuffle back and Reaper for, and then Slash and Burn's going to go over. Now, this doesn't put us on threat 4. I believe Cold Lava is only on threat 3. Now, this should charge Paladin Puemo as well, which I think will be totally fine for Cold Lava. That's a easy trigger to forget, and that's more credits. We also have a Simul Chip, so if we have any surprises, we can respond to them. Even if Audrey gets purged out, you can flicker the Audrey for free, which is nice with the cookbook counter. But the Corporation's board state here, again, like Anvil is a really interesting ice, but that's all the board state has besides the wall-to-wall.
Yeah, Anvil is a hungry beast. It's chewed up the
Yeah.
rest of the corporation's board here.
Still going to be jamming out again. Wall to walls on the
Okay,
table, and
Bob finally going
3
horizontal.
cards installed. Yes, couldn't tell you what these are. One of them has to be a Sphy at this point, right?
That seems likely.
So we
But
don't have a Gourmand yet. We did discard one to Anvil tax. So we'll see. We're going to start by cracking the Fermenter. I think it had 4 counters at the start of turn, so we're going to be making 8 credits.
it's a good war chest to go and contest these assets.
And a die roll will tell us that we're going to check the outer one first. So I can't. I have no idea what that is. It's an agenda. Just giving out
Ooh,
points. So that should be another paladin credit, but we're now definitely on measured threat, and the money is there for double measured. So you have to be careful. Like this is the sort of thing where you can even like at an instance grab a FUT just to do sudden damage. Hostile architecture also can matter, or hostile yeah, architecture, excuse me. Looks like spin doctor is the other one, and I do think we might have resed a hostile.
behind the anvil.
Can't tell what that card is. It looks like it was expensive. I'm
Hostile
pretty sure
seems
it's a
like a good
hostile art
guess.
art. Yeah, it kind of makes sense for the deck, right?
Absolutely. Very grindy, deal more damage. And the runner's stack is looking pretty thin.
Yeah. It's getting a bit thin, and this might be closer to a 40 card deck, which is not always a given when it comes to competitive Lou. But you have to watch out now because at any point in time, again, you have to play around measured. You have to play around everything else that can come alongside of that with instant damage. We did just put a gray mail on the table saying like that doesn't matter too much. If you get it, you get it. But we're now very much on threat 4.
Yeah. If this is a big obelisk, maybe the ob's effect of thinning the deck of non-agenda cards is not as pronounced.
Yeah, it
But
could be.
so maybe the corporation has a bit more time to try to set up a kill or a fatigue style win before they kind of bleed out and lose 3 more points.
Yeah, the runner hasn't, shown any multi-axis yet. I mean, we're assuming we're on a twinning or two. But yeah, if you want to just go run R&D, which is like at the mid to late game is where op feels like it's the softest, that is something you can build for. This board state isn't actually threatening anything besides the wall-to-wall pushing forward. And so there's no like instant speed tricks that will like make this board state into something that actually allows you to score out. So you do have time to set up and maybe poke centrals. Buffer drive coming down for 3 is pretty expensive, but Paladin is going to make that nearly free, if not credit positive, and that will help a lot against the grinder. Regolith is the checked outmost, which that will take you 3 credits, give you a Lou draw, but you'll lose 2 damage. I think after, right? Because your trigger has to go first when you trash from hostile.
Sorry, which other trigger?
If you do hostile into Lou, is hostile additional cost or is after you trash take 2? I'm not actually sure.
I believe it's after you trash.
Okay, so Lou will have to fire first, and you can trash one of the cards you drew into, which can be kind of awkward.
Yeah, if you're looking for an important card, you might just lose it.
Yeah. So the whole board state is known. Besides the ice, I believe the ice on HQ wall to wall, it has. I don't know actually know if it has to be advanceable at this point. I don't know what advanceable ice we're expecting. We haven't seen anything so far, but just more cards on the table, just pushing you sideways and saying like, "Hey, you have to check these. The hostile has good text here."
I do not believe the runner has run a central server a single time this game.
I think 0 times, yeah.
Just playing the board control battle here.
And we're pretty sure this deck is on like 3 Devil Charms, and like destroying Ops Ice is pretty relevant because, well, firstly, that Anvil is definitely doing stuff, but just having rezzed cards matters in the matchup as much as the assets are not really going to be all contested here. But we'll see if we're just like waiting to get that Chisel Charm action.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what threats the corp is presenting besides the possibility of running the runner out of deck.
I think
So
you can do some weird fast event stuff, right? Right, like if there's a Svi can trash a 3 coster, that can go get a Hollowman back, and then like you can score from hand a bit. Which, like at this point, we have to think that the corporation has another 3-2 in hand because it does look like they might have made a mistake on the Hollowman play because it looks like they tried to score it immediately, and so either they installed the wrong card or they did the math wrong. It's not easy to tell what the problem was there, but maybe
right.
they were just trying to push an SEF, right?
Yeah, that seems reasonably likely based on how they played.
Okay, we have a bunch of other cards res slightly off camera. We do have our first Devil Charm, which does say -6 to an ice that's being hit. Looks like, I don't know what those 2 cards are. They seem to be the same. They're stacked.
Checking
Very
the
colorful.
stream.
Yeah.
It is
I
some
I,
kind
can,
of
I
alt
don't
art.
recognize them. Yeah, exactly. I don't know off the stream. It's funny. There's like the stream delay where, like, if I want to see what the card is, I wait for the stream delay, but I'm not sure what that is. Antilles, yeah, that could make sense. They have 1 counter on each.
Okay. The res cost looked like 1 to me, but I could be wrong here.
Regolith is coming up as well. Just having rezzed cards is pretty important for op. The question is again, as you said, how does the op push this into a game plan? It looks like
Another slash
we're
and
gonna be
burn.
scoring out. Yeah, the spin doctor not being contested, which means slash and burns are like very, very easy. So we're gonna trash a 2 coster. This will get us a 1 coster we want to. So I don't know if we have another influence for another FUT or whether the spin doctor has to be popped, but it has to be popped before the slash and burn, then like it's a bit risky.
And this is the last spin doctor, I believe. I see 2 of them under the playmat.
Yeah, it should be.
So this trick won't work forever, but if the corp can just score 1 or 2 more points, they might be able to close out the game before the runner can punish them for doing another slab play.
So buffer drive there, bottoming, I believe a Fencer Fueno. I think the second or third Audrey has hit the heap. And we have now 2 Aziefs out. So in terms of the 3-2s to score out straight from hand, there's only 1 more Azief, and then I don't think we're going to see embedded reportings in this deck, or excuse me, above the laws. But of course, there's always one above the law. Excuse me. What is the
Off the
3-2
books is
off
the
the books?
agenda you're
Thank
thinking.
you. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, if you accurately saw a Kimberlite field, I would imagine that would take the slot of off the books.
It'd be really cool to see that. So we're poking centrals for the first time. Outermost ice looks like it's just a white space. So I can't tell. Oh, we have so many credits on the runner side. So this will just be a 3 credit break without having to spend cards if you don't want to. And by break, I mean break in quotes.
When did Lou get so rich?
I mean, we haven't spent any money in a while.
Oh no, has the
Our
stream
stream is now
gone
shifted
down?
over. I think we have a better stream now. Did you see the second stream on
Oh,
Discord?
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So we've just shifted
that's
over. This looks a lot better. So it looks like it was an advanced Maskarovka with a botch list. This is way better. Huge. Okay, we're so back. So we're poking
we're so
HQ.
back.
It's a measured response, 3 costs to trash this. It will give you your Audrey counter. We see no recursion of Basalt Spire, so if that measured comes down, it is going down. Looks like we are trashing it, getting our loot card draw. Can't be that many cards left in Cold Lava stack there.
I'm guessing it might be enough. The runner
Mm-hmm.
has so many credits and resources at their disposal. Like Cold Lava can pivot to centrals if it needs to. He can just keep contesting the board and making the court present a credible threat. So it's going to
You
be
see his
a
hand?
tight finish.
His hand has like another Devil Charm. It has a Chisel, I think. I think we also saw Simul Chip, and we did just expend a Simul Chip on that run. 2 Antils are going to force like 3 cards off the mandatory into the corpse hand, and we still have a wall to wall to consider. But that hand all has all this ice destruction, which like, I mean, yeah, definitely can still work here. Whether we want to find our multi axis, I don't remember if we've lost like a cacophony or more accurately probably a twinning to anything yet. Third ice on HQ though, kind of saying there's some cards in here, and we've gone through a fair few of both decks, and we've only seen so far like 7 points,
Yeah,
8 points. You
and
see,
the
think?
spin doctors, I believe, have not been used to rescue agendas very often. So
Yeah,
it
just like
definitely
one
makes
flash.
sense that the
Yeah,
corp would have more agendas in hand.
2 more cards out on the table, going horizontal. So we do have the Paladin, which gets a credit a turn. The twinning is going to be so important if we can find it. It looks like we're just going to start by opening up HQ again, tunneling into that server. So if this gets res, it gets destroyed immediately. It looks like we're happy to spend 3 credits for the white space, and the Maskarovka will give 2 credits to the corp, and then we get to touch a card here. I mean, what's the worst case that this could be? Like Stavka Hafrun doesn't work. Funny enough,
Stavka
seven
could
strength
be seven
Stavka.
strength.
Yeah, but you have the chisel with 1 counter already, so it's like kind of perfect, right? Because of the cookbook.
Oh, cookbook, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird interaction. 7 strength ice in the format. That's like the only one. And the anvil is just going down. It is on encounter, so it's text. I think the text is when encounter, but the runner encounters first on their turn. So I'm not sure the anvil text should fire. It looks like they might be calling a judge.
This
I
is
think
the
it's been
same
a
as
minute.
the classic femme fatale toll booth interaction, right?
Exactly. The rules crow starts crowing here. Yeah, I think this is a judge call, but Anvil is a card that the text on it's not like incredibly commonly known. But I do believe it says when the runner encounters, which means that is going to be on not priority on the runner's turn. Yeah, when the runner encounters. Interesting. So that's going to go down. So 1 Devil Charm will be removed from the game. The white space, we are very comfortably on like 22 credits, so we can spend 3. Looks like we're going to spend an Audrey counter instead. Actually, we were considering it. Looks like we've returned that. So the card that you spend will just go to the bottom of your deck, but like cards in hand seem like they really matter in this matchup. Gonna pay 3? Getting white space. The code gates from System Gateway don't always end the run. They give you some choices, which is kind of cool. And Maskarovka will bleed 2 credits over the corporation. We're gonna be touching one of these 3 cards.
It's
Third
a third
mask we've
Maskarovka.
seen. Yeah. Now, whether you have the time to check the table or not, I do think there's some things that can sneak away. And it looks like the dice has been deciding where Cold Lava has been running today.
Yeah. Lou wants to get a trash in if possible.
The second hostile, that is unique. Not that his text will matter. So there's one unknown card on the table. Looks like we were just putting stuff on the table to keep Cold Lava busy last turn.
And
I
it
don't
is
think there's a.
reasonably protected because of the rezzed hostile
Yeah.
infrastructure.
It's so wild we haven't seen a Sphere yet, but like the Spheing the hostile to get an event horizon is like such a good line. And like I'm assuming this deck has excavators in it. It would be surprising if it doesn't, but like that is exactly like the play that you have to be scared of this turn.
Looks like both sides are slowing down a bit for this endgame. Be up to the corp to see if they can pull out more dirty tricks to get the win across, either damage or fast advance.
Looks like
Looks
the
like a third
unknown.
regolith to
Just getting
get
money.
back in the credits. Bob
Well, I
often
think
needs a lot of money to power its tricks.
yeah, especially measure threat, and what we do have the money for that. I think the chat was calling out that hostile architecture actually should have fired on the ice destruction on HQ, which like the Anvil judge call definitely took the attention there, but hostile architecture just cares about an installed card getting trashed, and that did technically happen. So we did save 2 cards in hand. I think that's something that would easily have been missed, and obviously it was.
Oof, yeah, that's a great catch.
Yeah, for those who played Apocalypse against Hostile or Infrastructure,
Right.
that was
So missing
a
was
bit of
that.
a known quantity back in the day. So spin, we're shuffling back in. It looks like we're gonna reach for damage. So the slash and burn has still just been in the archives for a couple turns now. Hasn't been contested yet, but the FUD is going alongside it. And like with a spin doctor on the table, you definitely need to contest it as soon as you can. But it looks like it's a Stavka res. I think we have a 7 strength, maybe just a 2 strength. I don't know if the corpus trash something just yet.
Yeah, the stream has gone blurry again.
Yeah. So it looks like we're deciding again 2 strength and 7 strength. The difference is actually like 2 cards from hand. If you want to get through this with Audrey, it looks like we're trashing the hostile, so we can go search the deck for an event horizon. You can make this run unsuccessful. I don't know what other obvious forecaster you're reaching for an op in 2026. And there you go, the event horizon, the new border control sentry with a worst face check of sorts, and we'll see what this gets put.
Yeah, for Ob, importantly, can be trashed at any paid ability window. So it can
Yep.
trigger Ob on either turn. Surprised it's the first one we've seen.
Oh well, it has to be on a run on the server, right? Wait, are you
Oh,
talking about
yes, very
op
true.
or event horizon?
Uh, Event Horizon has to be on a run, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
not
they have
quite
to
that
be running
flexible.
that. Yeah, but still immensely powerful. Now this Stavka is threatening to trash too. Botchless is another other option as well. We do have 6 MU. We are using 4 of it here. So actually letting this fire and just say like, hey, I can hammer R&D, I guess, if this is not here. We do have simul chips in hand, so they can just, bring it back. And I don't know if we've seen any 3-pointers yet. We definitely haven't. Can't tell what that is. Hedge fund? Just a hedge fund getting gourmanded. That should draw a card, gain a credit. Now you could res the hostile there in the remote server, but it only protects installed cards, so there's not a real point when you see the gourmand coming down on centrals.
Do you think this Ob deck is on 3-pointers? It's kind of unclear to me.
I don't think so. I'd be surprised. I mean, it looks like we want to hollow in and score out small stuff to ping for damage.
Yeah, that would make sense.
It isn't looking like a big op deck. I think it is 49, maybe 54, but I think the big decks like struggle to put all the like green mails in it. Okay, we're pushing
Luke
this
did
remote
find
server.
a. So Luke did put down a simul chip, but because he didn't pop the simul chip right away, he still needs a program to be able to recur another program to deal with
Oh
ice.
yeah. Yeah, it's super true. It's worth noting the buffer drive, you can always like, use it, remove it from the game to get a card on top of your deck if you need that program. But yeah, that's the issue. This simul chip is entirely useless. I think the hand has maybe a chisel in it, but card in the remote server behind the event horizon, which means you're gonna have to run that server twice, and we have the ability to grab the worst thing possible, whether it's an upgrade, whether it's another piece of ice to stop that run. Unfortunately, Anvil like does op tricks. It doesn't actually end the run, but if you can trash the card in the remote server, if you have a spin doctor, which all 3 are out, it functionally does end the run, right? Pinhole is the top deck. So we do see a
Chisel
botchless in
is
hand.
Chisel is a nice tool to get past the event horizon,
Yeah.
and that'll be a program getting trashed no matter whether the corp decides to pop the event horizon.
Looks like we're gonna put a little friend down, a Gourmandus here. Now, I don't know when the remote server is you have to run. Looks like we're gonna pass the turn. It's not obvious that we can get like an instant speed Holloman, which is really scary if you think this is a 5-3. Instead, it's just gonna be an Antivil. So we're gonna go up 1 credit and 1 card. Man, there has to be points in hand here, huh?
Corp continues to draw.
We've
And
only seen,
Antil is occupying the ice promote for this turn, so
yeah.
how will the Corp keep busy? I think I glimpsed one or two agendas in that hand.
Yeah, this Antil threatens to become at start of turn, Holloman, and I think the Holloman might be in the deck. Maybe it's in the discard pile, actually. Tracking that's going to be super important because that means you can score any 3-2 straight from hand, whether it's the last Aziev or the last, or the only, excuse me, above the law, which I don't know if we have time to put down a twinning. We probably do still, as much as the Paladin's the only thing that's going to be charging that. Charging R&D. Ooh, Kesselroyd actually well positioned if you want to chisel your way into that server. Because this is
This,
the only ice in the format that can't just be trashed at all, period, by the runner. Or
this
can it
is
just,
the
it's ice
matchup for
not good.
Kessleroyd.
Yeah, yeah, this is really good. Like, so we're going
Uh,
to simulchip the sacrificial gourmand.
get back Audrey with one cookbook counter? Or was a Fractor discarded at some point?
I don't think we saw Rising Tide. Maybe we have it. It would also solve HQ in like a soft way, which is kind of nice. Oh yeah, that's, oh yeah,
Oh, that's right.
the
I
tide. Yeah.
forgot that a lot of Lou decks were actually on Propeller now. Uh, I guess it makes some sense if you just
Comes
do
in,
not
comes
want to spend
out.
money on ice. Oh, is that the
That's a
game?
3-pointer?
Wow. No, it's a slash and burn, but the runner
But,
was
oh,
on
that's
five.
7. No, that's 5. That's 6. Wait, that has to be a 3-pointer. Wait, why is the game over? That brings 6 points. Wait,
Oh,
is
by
the runner
running archives.
dead? Time was called. Oh, that makes way more sense.
Okay.
We have no idea. We're not at the space. But it looks like that is time is called on the last turn. You saw the hand had so many agendas in it, so many points, and that has to be it. But that is 6 to just, was it 4? I think it was 6-4, right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Well played to both players. Very going to be very exciting throughout the day to see what op is up to. And while this is our first op, a very interesting op as well. We didn't see a single excavator, maybe in the whole deck. I'm not sure. But we did see those like very aggressive push forward while damaging you lines, very Ayuko like, which well played to both players. It's gonna be a fun matchup to watch all day.
Yeah, very interactive. Very cool to see the tug of war back and forth. Well played to both. Cold Lava managed the threats, stayed cool under the damage pressure, and well deserved win.
So if you're just tuning in, by the way, welcome. This is the first round. We jumped into it pretty hot. It's my name is Andre for the Metropolitan Grid. I'm joined by Timmy. Timmy, you got to introduce yourself. Can I introduce you for the old, like the new players who don't know who you are and how cool you are?
Go for it. I'm not the greatest at introducing myself.
This is Timmy Wong, world's finalist in, I want to say 2015.
I think I was third place in 2015 and finalist 2016.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, just a phenomenal player. For a
Mm,
long time,
yeah.
Timmy Wong was like the player that played the weird brews and brought cards like Big Brother to Worlds, and people had to like figure out what the card did in the first place. But Timmy's been playing for such a long time, especially back in the old days, and it's always a treat to run into Timmy Wong, whether it's on a table or on a microphone. So glad to be sharing a microphone with you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think round two.
Welcome back. This is the 2026 America Continentals. My name is Andre for the Metropole Grid. I'm joined by Timmy Wong. Timmy, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Glad to be here at the start of the round.
And we are so back. So we're going to be diving into pretty hot. We have two great players here, kind of West Coast versus East Coast. On the left, we have White Blade with some amount of numbers. That is Sam. You might know as a multiple award-winning Netrunner player. Been playing for such a long time as well. And that's going to be Gemelang flipped over from Nebula as soon as turn one. Other side of the table, it's Kevin, organizer. Kevin on the East Coast has came in, I believe, second at one of the major tournaments that was just ran. I don't know. I think it was second place. Maybe he took it, but has been playing some really interesting brews. Maybe you know him for playing some at Taya. But this is going to be an Arasana start. So we have that early environmental testing. We have the early Nuko. No flip just yet. And we'll see how easy it is for Arasana to make those cheap runs off of a stowaway to keep Gemelang flip back.
Notably, Whiteblade was actually also an organizer. They
Oh,
organized
yeah.
Cascadia, I believe, up
The
until 2 years ago.
Cascadia. Yes.
Uh, so a big debt to Whiteblade for getting this event set up and into the perennial mainstay that it's become.
Yeah, this started, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago as like the big event. And mind you, an organizer from across the border from Canada having this at the Mox Bellevue. Now it's been, I believe, 4 or 5 years. Huge shout out to, of course, all the folks behind the scenes right now. And of course, Man of the Moon, who's been organizing this. But yeah, it's so good to see this massive event just every year at this time of the year. It's been an absolute treat. Looks like we did a sudden commandment. We got some money off of the non-equivalent, so money looks to be good. You can't tell if this deck wants to throw oppos and tags. Usually they don't. It's just like full fast events, and we'll see what the agenda suite looks like. First poke, it's going to be Unsmiling Sadievna. Not very obvious here if you want to pay the 2 credit premium and give that to the runner. And we're not expecting these to be broken as much as sometimes bypassed, so that really doesn't change the math too much.
Yeah, it's a messier decision than usual against Arasana. Usually the runner's rig is face up,
It's
and
there,
as a corp,
yeah.
you can tell whether they plan to break your unsmiling. But Arasana can always pull a trick out of her sleeve.
Ooh, looks like we're maybe checking to see if an illumination would go through, but we get the full 4 card swing and a tag. The stowaway will be installed, so this will be a 2 credit refund on the run and a counter on the environmental testing. But most importantly, flipping Gemelang and seeing a second princess there. That's Sarievna. Will hopefully keep R&D safe for a bit. That's a hard card to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder what Kevin's plan is to take advantage of that stowaway. But of course, Nebula, you don't expect them to make any remote servers, so your stowaway will probably have to go on HQ or RD.
Yeah, and they will really matter again. Like so much of Nebula is like, can you afford to continue running? And while producing the breakers might be the issue, it's like that sort of like Chesva like card is really good in this matchup. We're gonna be ending the turn there with I think a fermenter. The tag has to be cleared if you want to protect your environmental, and I think it should be on 2 charges there. So yeah, it looks like Kevin got it. Great.
Yeah, really rough to lose that early illumination. That card has so much value for setting up.
Oh, so much value for setting up, just absurd. Now down to 4 credits. Gamelang will get an extra credit and the flip, or Nebula, excuse me, into Gamelang. So we'll see if we need that second ice there. Going to keep the stowaway. Sometimes you want to aggressively trash the ice that has the Trojans, but that's more of a thing when you're going to see the Urban Art Vernissage that can make obvious value from the card.
Yeah, and Unsmiling Srevna is one of the more high value ice in this situation, I would say. So you don't want to trash it too easily.
So we're going to continue drawing up here. Big question is, what is the NBN scoring suite here? Is if we're on king making, if we're on moon pool, if we're on, there's a lot of different ways to do this. Usually some HB cards give you the click compression. I think it's pretty common right now to be seeing top down solutions to get the double install. That's usually a line of king making and moon pool, but that requires you to have a lot of cards in hand. So we'll see if we see a piranhas, which kind of tells you F2P. Just a 4 credit pseudo break if you want to. Won't end the run. And a stowaway on this would be kind of perfect. Just means you get into HQ for 2 credits a turn.
Yeah. Uh, F2P is just a nice taxing piece of ice here. Putting that environmental testing back into the runner's hand would be very bad, so the runner
Yeah,
can't
you
let it fire.
cannot let this fire. It looks like we're going to actually search for something here. So Muse from hand and Muse installing a card, as long as you can afford both of them, will bounce you up 9 credits off the environmental testing. So it looks like we're going to bypass for Fizerum, so it's half cost. But the big thing here is you installed this for 2 and you gained like functionally 7, which is quite nice. So see if you just purge out here. The thing is, if you purge, you don't flip, and flipping is what you want to be doing for sure. So that's going to be a flip back. Now, a lot of these RE lists modernly are actually playing like HQ pressure, like Wake Implant or Double Cupellation. So that actually really matters. And that's going to tell us so much. Early King making grip is huge. So that is one of the power cards. This is a 4-2 that scores will turn on off usually the superconducting hubs. Sometimes you're also on the 2-1s. But that becomes like a 3-point fast advance, which is such a strong grip from the deck.
Yeah, the ideal scoring pattern for Nebula is to try to score king making with superconducting hub. Um, get that early hand size as early as possible, which makes your piranhas much tougher to defeat, and just lets you hold more fast advance tools in hand, so you can keep drawing and just keep chaining out combos whenever the runner lets you.
Now, the Purge Pass looks a bit sweeter too when it knocks the Fermenter down at the same time. But after Kevin ended the turn on the Creative Commission, like the money is pretty good. We did lose the second environmental testing to the damage off the Sarievna. So we'll see what it takes to spin up the money now. You don't have to make a successful run. And I think you're relatively happy continuing to set up with the early RE. We haven't seen a console or a DZ. And well, third environmental end is really easy, really quite nice on the setup.
Yeah, this seems like a really good draw for Ari.
Yeah.
I feel like
Spin
as
Doctor.
these shaper decks, you're extremely reliant. If you're built around environmental testing, you tend to be very reliant on that as a big money source. So drawing all three of them early is great.
5 credit hedge fund off the spin doctor and ice to repair to flip back. So again, every turn that we've been threatening, Kevin has riposted and said, I'm flipping you back to the other side. So we'll see if this can hold up. Again, 1 ice, Arsana, yes. 2 ice, Arsana, sometimes yes, but you definitely need the right tools in hand. And we haven't seen a simul chip yet, but Ritual might just get you a bit deeper. We see a
Yeah,
slap.
with double. Go ahead.
Slap Vandal is in hand. So we'll see that makes us aggressive with the simul chip.
These dice do have multiple subroutines. Slap
Yep.
Vandal, not really ideal against F2P, it just saves you 1 credit.
Looks like we're going in. Ping on the outermost. So you can do Slap Vandal, pay 4. It is a bit expensive, and you don't want to be running last click. Luckily, we have a click to spare to clear the tag to protect environmental, let alone maybe you have to play around a planogram or two.
Yeah, Kevin's having a think here. What's the most efficient way to keep going? So I've gone down to 10 credits at this point, so the money can go away quickly, but okay, does decide to Slap Vandal to get through.
So environmental should tick up here. This is going to be a 1 credit break. Now, notably, you are tagged. So F2P hard ends the run here functionally, unless you need to do now for Zeramit. Because F2P, you can't pay the 4 if you are tagged. And so that's a really good
Yes.
positioning for this one run. So instead of going for the Fizzarum, we're going to be going for the Simultrip for the Fizzarum, which tells you like this has to be on Knickknack or some way to sell programs forward, because otherwise you're just adding more stuff to the table. I mean, I guess it fires environmental faster, so you do it regardless. And we are flipping back really aggressively. Let's see if we have the sick rip still. Oh my god, the
Oh,
rips! 2 king
that
makings of 2
trans.
HQ axes. Just
Yeah.
so good here. And while I'll be surprised, I don't think this deck is running any 3-pointers. That is like 2 of the most powerful cards to defang the corporation. Sam here going for another purge, 2 turns apart.
Oof. Yeah, that Viserium is just too threatening. But
Yeah.
Kevin's been playing great as well as getting lucky. Like, if you can just stop Nebula from being flipped, deny their fast advance, their agendas definitely end up in HQ.
There's that spec work. So again, that's going to push us forward. Going to be trashing the Muse to get some more card draw. And the thing about the Fizzarum is like, hey, it will be coming back. This listed on 3 Simulchip, 3 Muses. So all of those cards can reproduce that problem. Currently running HQ does just cost you 5 credits, but you have no real incentive to when Gemalang is not shown up on the table. So we'll see again. You still need the operation to threaten that. And Sam has points. Maybe still a couple 1-pointers. The deck has a lot of agendas in it if it's running 1-pointers as well.
Yes. Oh,
We're
okay. Kevin
going.
does decide to go back into HQ.
So we'll see if we have a
Correctly.
getaway from hand. I think a getaway
Mhm.
from hand makes us like so much cheaper, but it looks like it's just a 5 credit access single off the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Not quite that
Non-equivalent.
good.
No. I mean, we ran pretty hot so far. One of those has to not be good, right?
Agreed. Okay, he just has to manage his resources carefully to keep ahead of the corp here. All 3 environmental testings are gone, so how's he going to keep up economically?
So I think this is either an archives check or a spin doctor check. It looks like at this point it doesn't really matter too much. The simul chip, we're going to use that with Arsana. So you just basically get 2 credits during a run, which is not bad. With the spec work, sometimes you get a bit more value, but of course, Kevin knows Kevin's hand.
And as for Whiteblade now, how are they going to get out of this pickle? They definitely have an operation to play to get some money, but can they do anything else to get ahead, or are they just stuck in this holding pattern of hoping the runner runs out of gas?
Yeah, like it feels like sometimes these Nebula decks don't give too much skill expression on the corporation. We know we have the event. The question is, do you need the third ice on HQ? So there's the non-equivalent. So that's going to be functionally 4 credits. I don't know if we want to give Arasana more money at this point. But the question is, now that we flip, can you keep it out? And there you go, the third piece of ice, just saying I can overwhelm you. And again, Arasana, we've seen no permanent breakers, so like 3 ice is going to be a problem, as much as the F2P kind of just asks as a credit check.
Yeah, kind of an interesting decision here whether to trash that ping. So that's not a very high value ice after you've rested, and it does have a Trojan on it.
Yeah,
But
still
maybe,
costs $1. Yeah.
mm-hmm, yep, and maybe Sam figuring that clogging up Arasana's MU could be useful while she doesn't have a console.
Nuka's going to straight into drawing 3. So we do have a bunch of options. We did the last click draw, so we're obviously looking for stuff. The pinhole in hand is probably not going to be doing anything in this matchup. But we'll see. This is the first turn that there's a chance we'll just seed and say, like, okay, you can Gamelang. With 2 of these king makings in the runner score area, there's way less threat. Like, what's the worst case? It's very unlikely too. With if you're on Moonpool, you need a lot of cards in hand, a lot of agendas. So just taking agendas out of the game also just makes Moonpool harder to fire.
Yeah. Did you catch whether a petty cache has ever been put into
I
archives?
don't think
That
so.
would, yeah. Without that, it's also not too easy for Nebula to fascinate something. They kind of need some other trick.
Last click run. We're gonna be floating a tag here. So the pings are
Wow.
set up really well into this F2P, but this means the F2P is hard to deal with. Looks like we're just going to bounce and float a tag. Now, I'm not expecting disastrous single tag punishment here. There's not too much, like maybe a backroom machinations flits into the deck, but like with only a Nuka, I don't know. Looks like we're checking the
Backrooms
bin.
would
Maybe
be
there's.
amazing to see. But
Oh, that is a petty cache. We do have the
okay.
click.
So is that scoring conducting hub perhaps?
Yeah, maybe that's just where you start. So with triple advance, there's a conducting hub from System Gateway. It's going to say you can draw 2 cards. I think it might be optional, but regardless, our hand size is now 7. These lists are usually running Prahanas as well, which is another really big target for the Fizerum, because now that the hand sides cannot be matched, barring like firing Nuka click 1, that is tricky to deal with as a 6 strength code gate. I guess you can like pretty easily slap handle the 1 subroutine that matters.
Yes, very true. Arsana probably has a decent matchup here.
Ritual, going to keep the Nuka on the table, just filter through our cards, but we are now up 1 point to 4. But the 2 king makings out, you have to score a lot of agendas here, right? Like you have to score 3 more agendas no matter what. Maybe more, honestly.
Yeah, but Kevin's slowing down a bit. Okay, here comes a propeller to be able to break the 2 pings.
Now you need to make sure to clear the tag before you hit the F2P. That's a bad mistake to forget. And then the F2P fires, and it could be annoying. Funny enough, you can technically force the propeller back into hand if you set your board state up the right way.
Yeah, Ari can run with a pretty fluid board.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if Kevin just pops his fermenter, the F2P isn't looking too bad.
Yeah. So again, very importantly, simulchip on the table. Looks like we're gonna be running. Gemeling does not flip back. That is the second side you have now, which should have been maybe expected. It's what we saw top of R&D. The thing is that this doesn't end the run. The problem is you're going to end up tagged into tagged into tagged. 2 tags really matters for NBN. And while I'm not convinced this deck is on freedom of information or even any other tag punishment outside of planogram, it's up to Sam to like really make that interesting during the deck build.
Yeah, it looks like Ari might be going to full tag me mode now that the environmental testings are gone.
Ooh, Echelon from
Oh, no.
hand. So that's going to
Okay.
get trashed. But we do break these each for just 3 credits, which we're now probably not going to represent a stowaway. So it's a 6 credit flip back down to 5, top of the deck. Could you catch what that was? It was an operation, I think.
No, I didn't catch it. But both HQ and R&D are now 6 credit taxes. So quite significant.
Yeah, we'll see if this Arsonic can keep up. The stowaways are really important if you want to keep those runs cheap. Now that Echelon was going to be trashed, but the Simulchip flickered it back. Notably, Arsana, if it's not a Trojan, does not stick. And so that Simulchip was just used at instant speed. I think it's a planogram?
I think that was the second simulchip used this game.
Yep. So we can use all this planogram. This is a tagged planogram. So draw 3, gain 3. We got a Rashida Yahim for a single click.
always really nice. And great for
Ooh,
Nebula after getting that extra hand size. Ooh, into your digital life, the
I
combo.
mean, big money. Now, I don't know what we can use the big money for. I do see a Piranha's there in the hand, so we'll see if we want to set that up. That is going to be hard to deal with. But I don't know if we saw any fast advance cards. The petty caches are obviously super important. And while you could even play Cupulation and maybe check archives and steal those cups, or cup, sorry, the caches, we definitely have other
Yes,
cards
that
to be
could
able
be
to
it.
fast advance out.
Yes, but every petty cache is a huge commodity for Nebula, so stealing
For
one could
sure.
definitely be a great move.
There's even the thing that you want to do sometimes where you don't want to show it and you just want to discard it to overhand size so the runner doesn't see it so they don't play around it and then you can sneak it out. But we have played an operation, so Gamelang will have right text and it looks like we're playing top down, but like tempo top down, not a Gamelang
Ah,
top down. So our hand is either awkward or we have extra cards that we don't need.
yeah, I never would have expected this. So it's selling
This
ooh,
was a turn where we drew
third
five
and fourth
cards.
dice.
Yeah.
That was a
I mean,
crazy turn.
and we have 7 hand size, so we might not be discarding it. But again, there was mandatory draw three, draw two, and discarding a card. Looks like our hand is full. I do see some points in there. I think some embedded reportings, which are the expected 3-2 of choice, or not even of choice. I mean, it's the 3-2 you play. It's good though.
Whiteblade gained something like 10, 9 or 10 credits and then spent
Yeah,
5 of it on install costs in one turn.
I mean, we
And
talk
drew
about
5
illumination,
cards.
and that's like that's an illumination turn and a half. Draw
Yeah, at
three
some
off
point,
Nuka,
these
tag.
HB and NBN operations just
Yeah.
turn into some kind of unholy combo.
Now that's a big fermenter. That's an 8 credit click. I'm not expecting to see a third purge here. That's really expensive unless a Fizzarum shows up. One of these has to be a Piranhas, which again, cards in hand can sometimes beat. But even if you go there with 8 cards in hand and take a net damage, you go to 7 to 8 on the corpse side, and you will end the run if you're not. I believe you have to be above. I think you do you lose ties on Piranhas?
The runner wins ties after
Okay,
the
perfect.
draw 1 card and deal 1 damage.
Yeah, if there are more cards on HQ, yeah, perfect. Okay, so you can't necessarily get through Piranhas here if I believe Sam's on 7 in hand. Good money. The question is, how do we run here? You're not expecting too many more sentries. F2P, mind you, is 5 strength, so like Echelon does not deal with that gracefully. And you're tagged, so you can't do the text. DZ is the start. Into creative, and we're just passing and saying, hey, I know that you just expend top-down solutions. So if you have another one for a combo, like I guess you can have it here.
Yeah, and looks like, man, that one tag
Again,
that Ari is floating is turning out to be a big deal after all.
and we saw some important cards there. We drew a petty cache and we drew a moon pool. So we should have some ways to do some interesting things. Maybe not this turn, but definitely next turn. That was a clicklessly planogram, so like you could still maybe do a trick here with moon pool, but you probably are relegated to scoring only a 3-2.
Yeah, it feels like Kevin really needs to disrupt the corp by at least flipping their ID back this next round. Sam has just drawn so many cards at this point.
Sudden Commandment is on threat, maybe 3, maybe 4, but regardless, Sudden Commandment is online, and that is such an interesting card that it's very easy to underestimate because it does allow you to gain like 2 clicks on the Gambling turn, or even just like clicklessly play an operation, which if that operation installs a card, you can score a 3-2 from hand here. Now, that is important because it's expensive. It is a 4 credit play, but I do believe we have a Commandment in hand, and that's like such a kind of get out of jail free card. Top down is the
Ooh,
start.
another tempo top tip?
Another tempo top down. That's 2 turns in a row that we drawn 6 cards after mandatory
No, okay.
altogether.
It's time for the moon
So
pool play, I think.
yeah.
This makes sense.
So this draws 2, installs 2, does cost 2, but that's a lot of clicks for a single operation.
So this combo is powerful because Moonpool is kind of a busted card and gives
Yep.
you 2 free advancements. So it actually lets you fast advance even without the extra click from Gimmelang.
Yeah, the Gimmeling click was needed. Looks like it was used for card draw, right? Like it wasn't used for the click compression. Obviously. Now this is going to show agendas and shuffle them into R&D. So the question is, where do you want to be running? And we put back a post-truth dividend, a bring your kid to work, and an embedded. So we'll see what this is. This looks like it's an embedded. Um, I think it only has 3 advancements, so it just might be a blank 3-2. I don't think we got the 4 advancements on the turn.
No, I don't think Nebula tends to need that extra ability to put operations on top to just draw a lot of cards and get the
Yeah.
operations they need that
Oh,
way.
we did. We did
Oh,
a 4-2. So it's an
whoa.
embedded. with dividends too. So now when our turn ends, we can search R&D for an operation, reveal it, and put it on top of the deck, which is really good if our sun is only going to be threatening single axis. This means you can set up like any of the cards that you need to combo out. So I don't know if we're going to be discarding a petty cash here, but like off the top of the deck, if you have like imagine a one of greasing or another top down, you can do some. It's a good piece of text. Looks like it's just a YDL.
Yeah. Importantly, it also just protects R&D.
Yes,
Um,
huge.
like the runner is feeling pressured to run somewhere, and now R&D looks a lot less appealing. And given that Sam just shuffled back to agendas from HQ, maybe HQ is also relatively safe.
Looks like we're just going to ask what's in archives. I do want to say you talk about like top of R&D being safe. Classically, Whiteblade has been like a huge epiphany player, especially on the West Coast. And this is the first tournament I believe we've seen them play something else in an NBN in a while. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is. I do think by a mile, Nebula, which did really quite well in the last couple of weeks of tournaments, is the most represented NBN today. And saying like there's not a lot of criminals, not a lot of people can run super cheaply. A lot of this ice is pretty good against Lou and some of the fixed strength breakers. We'll see what that narrative looks like after, again, 8 rounds today and a couple more tomorrow.
Yeah, looks like 11 out of 18 NBN players are all on Nebula.
Yeah.
A little surprising given that Reality Plus, another powerful NBN ID, was just
Totally forgot
unbanned,
about
but
that. Wait, are there any R
only 5 of
pluses
those on
today?
this field. 5 of them.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's something.
Uh, from what little I've heard, most people haven't found the
The
secret sauce
sauce.
to make R plus work in this meta. Lou is probably pretty tough. Seb seems actually pretty tough for Reality Plus as well.
We built a Unity, used our DZ. Looks like this turn we have 2 clicks left, so you could consider running. We've seen a lot of economy before. I think we played 2 creatives. We've gone through 2, trashed 1 copy of environmental. So like the money is technically limited in any Netrunner deck, but specifically this deck is mostly going to be on the stowaways landing in a way that makes sense. And I mean, deep dive is also a concern. We're finally clearing the tag. We've gone through, I think, every single planogram, and Hush is in the bin, which in this matchup might not matter.
Yeah, I don't think Hush does anything against these ice that are on the board except like a pre-res for I wonder if Kevin is maybe regretting his choice to use Simulchip to trade in his first stowaway for to recur the Viserum on F2P.
Could
Seems
be.
like that extra 2 credit discount on running R&D might have been really important.
We're going to play our post truth, which just cycles forward a card, a 2-1 that draws. We're now going to use our last dividends counter to put something on top of the deck. So we didn't actually, we did use the Gamelang text. We played the YDL, I'm pretty sure. So we got our money up, we kept going. And this is really important because we're now on, we're on threat 4 for a bit. But if that last king making goes through and you can score it out, whether it's like petty cash, sudden commandment, any of those sort of like trick lines that you have access to, you can close the game out here. The thing is, like, it totally hinges on finding the last, which hasn't been ripped out of hand so far. Top of the deck, mind you, is to set that up. The final copy of that HP card, I forget the name of. That's important. Top
Top
down,
down
excuse me.
solutions?
Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, that top down moonful into scoring embedded has proven really good actually. So not on us for doubting it. Those dividend
Yeah,
counters were really
counters are
good
cool.
value for that one extra click.
Click one, we're gonna be drawing up again. This could be the final turn. The question is like this all comes down to where that last 4-2 is. And even if you score out another 3-2 from hand, you're pretty happy like with an extra post truth. Looks like we're gonna go for a first poke on HQ in a while now. And 2 pings and an F2P, we've cleared the tag, so the F2P can't be dealt with. Outermost dice, we're not resing. It looks like one of those might be piranhas on outermost of HQ or R&D, but Propeller's gonna pay through. 4 credits. We're gonna get the flip here, and we'll see what the sweet rip is from hand. Again, this should be a 7-card hand, so the agendas are a bit safer there in a 1 and 7 versus a 1 and 5, but we'll roll the dice,
Kevin
see
needs
where we
more
go.
sweet rips.
Just a YDL. So I don't know if that YDL was played last turn or not, because there's already YDL face up in archive. So that could have been the one that was shown off the dividends from 2 turns ago. But regardless, we have flipped back, so you can still do some cool stuff with top down. It needs Moonpool and everything to line up if you're not flipped over.
Yes, but just seeing that YDL and knowing that they'll just flip back when Kevin is down to 4 credits, it's pretty demoralizing. This is kind of how it often feels to play against Nebula.
Well, Hannah, like we're really hoping, I think, for a deep dive here because this is not building a remote server. Now, the simul chip, we can just use that for a coalescence to go +4. But the question is like, how cheaply can you run all these servers? And then with Hannah, you have 2 clicks to deep dive, which will steal a 1 and a 2, which will close the game out if you're lucky. You do see the hand again. We kept the money on not resing, so the sudden commandment is probably one of the most expensive plays you have in your hand. I don't know if you have it. Again, sudden commandment to top down is like very, very good. You could definitely score anything from hand here. Maybe not a 4-2, but a 3-2 for sure.
I didn't catch any agendas in that glimpse.
Yeah, maybe we don't have anything. We do want to get the flip. So you always want to play an operation to force the runner. And with only 2 credits, you probably have a window here to keep them out for a turn.
Yeah, maybe Sam thinking how many cards or how many cards they need to draw here to get the tools they need before playing the YDL we know they have.
Again, we've only seen 8 points, so there's 12 points left in the game. We saw 2 agendas get shuffled back into R&D. One of them was a post-truth. One of them was a embedded. Those might not be the ones in the score area. So even R&D, of course, is going to have, a pretty reasonable density at this point. So we're
And then
taking
it
some
seems like
time.
this RE deck is not finding any multi-access except a likely telegraph deep dive from
Yeah.
what
This
it's
might
playing.
not have that sort of HQ pressure that we've seen in a lot of other RE decks. It might just be like 2 deep dives that are trying to close the game out.
Yeah, in that case, it's just a credit race to
Yeah.
see if RE can get what's looking like 14 credits will be needed to run through HQ and R&D and archives, and then spend 2 clicks on deep dive. But
Yeah, the simul chip's
decent
like
chance that would win the game.
really strong on HQ. Well, I mean for the runner, because if you res the piranhas, you just like simul chip flicker the slap handle and you break it for 1, and then you have the bad publicity for R&D. So like, I could see us not resing a piranhas into RE unless like unless excuse me, the simul chip is like really taxed out.
Yeah, but we'll see. See what the how fast the runner can financially recover and
Yeah.
whether the corp can do anything to disrupt it.
So we are
Okay, there's the
flipping.
YDL after a click or two of drawing,
Yeah, we did
I
draw. I think we
believe.
got a spin doctor. We are gonna have money again. I do not know how expensive the combo is off the top of my head, but like if you want to pay 4 credits and then 2 more for a top down, you can clicklessly install 2 cards. Looks like I don't know, 2 spin doctors is maybe the read here. I don't think we're gonna see an agenda on the table. And well, Hannah can definitely check one of these for free. I think even just letting the runner trash it for 2 is like not really a threat they can actually afford to make.
Letting White Blade trash Hannah for two and a click. Yeah, you probably need the double agenda deep dive to win the game here.
Yeah. And we're pretty sure one of these Atomos is a Piranhas, but again, Slap Vandal does break it for 1 regardless of the card differential. The thing is, like, the Piranhas could hit the deep dive from hand. It's not incredibly likely, but I mean, there's a chance. And so if you have 2 deep dives in hand, you're feeling a bit safer. But there was no res on the HQ Whites last turn, so it might read like we want to keep money for some sort of combo.
Yeah. Or potentially Whiteblade is playing around this exact eventuality, not wanting to give Ari the bad pub until uh,
Yeah.
the turn when the piranhas can maybe snipe the deep dive.
First click. We're running centrals. Again, only 2 credits, but the simul chip can produce a coalescence for +4 clicklessly. So we're starting here with the R&D ice. It is the first piranha. So this is our illicit ice now, it's called. So 6 strength is just enough for Slap Vandal. This will do 1 net damage. We'll let the corporation draw up to a card and then compare hand sizes for the end of the run. Now, off of a Unity, this is very expensive because 6 strength, you have to boost this at least twice, right? So you will need to break this for at least 3. And if you're doing that, it's like kind of hard to do anything else, especially if we're gonna like tank. I think we're looking to tank the Sarievnas. Like we
Yeah,
don't have money to deal with the server.
yeah, the runner is very poor. Seems like Kevin might just have to let the piranhas fire and try to do something with the bad publicity now.
Yeah.
I don't think you can threaten a deep dive off 2 credits here.
Yeah, most we have again like 6 credits, but you need to get through this stuff. And if you're letting subroutines fire, like you're not gonna keep the deep dive more often than not. Looks like we're gonna let the corp draw. The corp did choose to draw. Oh no!
No,
Oh no, that was 2
accidental.
net damage. That's a That's a
next to the
judge
reveal.
call. Oh, no, that can be a
Uh,
game loss at these sort of competitive events. We were looking at the Tsarevna, but the Piranhas needs to hit 1 damage, but this reveals extra information. We are not at the venue, we're not judges, but yeah, because there's a big chance that you do jack out here, so the extra damage can be a problem. That's heartbreaking.
this is quite unfortunate. I hope the judges can find a solution that doesn't involve a game loss here.
Yeah. Yeah, removing cards from your opponent's hand. Very commonly in tournaments, if you're doing net damage, you'll ask your opponent to put their cards on the table and you point to the cards and they flip them so that you can't mess it up for yourself. They can mess it up for you, which is their problem. But unfortunately, that is this is very difficult to repair. That hurts. This happens at all, man. You see this at all high level tables. Like this stuff does happen commonly, and I've seen like Continentals top cuts, at Worlds, like top cuts. Like this sort of stuff still happens, and it is obviously so painful when it happens.
Yeah. I don't think anyone has found a better solution, but I really wish there was
Yeah,
a penalty that could be applied here that was less severe than a game loss. But
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see how the judges handle this.
Again, I don't know who our judges are today. I know I think Quesadilla's out there judging today. Some nice folks from the West Coast.
I'm sure we have a great team. Maybe Radiant as well.
Oh, that sounds about right. This is an app you can see, mind you, this is from the NRO website that actually allows you to put in like a judge question and it'll basically, well, it'll walk you through the comprehensive, like the judge manual to be like, this is the question you should ask next. This is the question you should ask next. And it will just basically pull you through somewhat dry rules document.
Oh wow,
Oh, Seth is
that's very
judging. That
helpful.
makes a lot of sense. That's a game
And
loss.
it
Oh,
sounds like it is a game loss.
bummer.
Condolences to
Yeah,
Whiteblade.
feels bad that happens. You did see the deep dive in hand, so we have no idea how that would have ended. I think that was going to get a bit dicey, and that run, I don't know, is going to be great for Kevin there. Maybe the deep dive can survive. I'm assuming we would maybe jacked out from that point, or sorry, the run would have ended at that point because we didn't have the hand differential. So yeah, that was going to be the end of the run. Unfortunately, was in fact the end of the game. But these are both great players. I have no doubt we'll continue to see them today and hopefully also tomorrow. But we'll play to both. That can happen. Paper play does be like that.
Yeah, I know Sam is a great player and they'll be able to bounce back from this.
Oh
It's
yeah,
very unfortunate. I think they were probably favored in this game, but it's definitely going to be very tense at the end whether
yeah.
Ari could get the necessary resources to do the deep dive.
Yeah, that ending is going to be a photo finish for sure, but we'll play to both players. This is round two, mind you. We have 6 more rounds. I believe we have one more round before the lunch break. That sounds right, right? Or is the lunch break now?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe we
We
have
have
one more round.
I believe we have one more round. So if you're watching this, welcome. This is the 2026 American Continentals at Cascadia. Shout out to Sam, mind you, who is the original organizer behind Cascadia. And still, I think 4 or 5 years later, it's going on. And it's become this event that people plan their calendar years around, which is such a big deal. So huge shout out to all the folks who are out there organizing. My name is Andre from the Metro Grid. Again, I'm joined remote through the power of the internet. And I'm joined by 2015, 2016 world's top 8 player, Timmy Wong. It's been good, Timmy.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Uh, I'm glad we get to do at least one more round of sweet commentary. Um, do you want to talk about the meta a bit now, or maybe
Oh
before the next
yeah,
round?
yeah, we got some time. We got some time. So before the next round, mind you, you can follow along at home if you want to go to the tournaments.nullsignal.games website. The code is for the event 4965. If you don't find it on the front page, 4965. But this is the first major event in the 2608 meta, which we just had a recent ban list that unbanned Reality Plus, which is showing up here not super commonly. We have only 5 players at the day out of 90 repping with the old new NBN. Nebula, mind you, is the most prominent NBN we're going to be seeing today. And of course, with Svi being unbanned, Svi Excavator, super heavy logistics is showing up as the dominant corporation with 16 players, basically 1 in 5 on the day. And notably, Wayland is actually 45%. I don't think we've seen a Wayland dominated tournament like this in a long time.
Yeah, it's great to see Wayland's star rise again. They've always had
Yeah.
a lot of different IDs that are potentially powerful, nothing too dominant except Ob sometimes. Um, yeah, but here we see a big representation from a lot of Wayland IDs. We have 16
Yeah.
Ob players, 8 Nuven players, 8 Built to Last players, and even 7 Bangun players.
Yes, the Bangu players I think have a lot to play with over the last week. If you've been on Network DB front page, you kind of know what they might be up to. It's a really great deck. I do want to say HB is like probably the big loser, only currently being 11% of today. And while still only 6 precision design players, I think we'll find out whether those players are trying to reimagine the combo deck that was pretty dominant in the last meta without red level clearance, which was banned out, or whether they're just like scoring out or doing, just playing flood the market in a more, I would say, honest way, but you know what I mean, right? Like the way that it was before we saw the big, kill combo decks that were really important in the Megacities meta.
Yeah, I my expectation would be a rough split between kind of classic PD rush decks and more flood the market decks that aren't trying to like win in one turn, but to
Exactly.
steadily score out agendas over 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah.
But if anyone has cracked the code on how to make the combo really good, that could be exciting to see as well.
Yeah, might take some time. We've only been on this new ban list for, well, technically a day, as much as people have had the last 2 weeks to
Yes.
figure it out. I do want to say Jinteki, right? Like that was the dominant thing for the last whole year, just about, like this year, 2026. And while we have lost Melius U, Ayuko is still up there as their second most played corporation with 12 players. And I think our guess was like 1 in every 3 players who were playing Melius would go over to Restoring Humanity and just live the sort of like Jinteki Glacier dream from 2025 worlds. And it looks like that's about the case. We have about only, again, 6 players equal to Precision Design playing that old 40 card Restoring Humanity.
Yeah, still a great ID that makes money. So hopefully the Jinteki Glacier players aren't too upset at the melee spin.
Now, really quickly, just to finish this off on the runner side, it's relatively even split between the 3 major factions. Slightly more Anarch, but not a huge difference, with Alu being again about a fifth of the field, slightly more, followed by Musli Hot. And then I do think this is the most representation we've seen of Seb at a single tournament. Usually, Seb is one of the most performant and converting decks, but it's usually one of the minority decks, only played by the hands of players who've really put the reps in to figure out what is, a very odd kind of like mini faction esque deck. But today, I'm really hoping those numbers convert. And I'm not sure who the Seb players are at the field, but like Seb is definitely going to be trying to do a thing today.
I know a lot of people on my California team, Logic Bomb, are very high on Seb. We've been very worried
Heck
about
yeah.
it. So Seb has, yeah, been performing really well over the Mega City season. The crazy win rate.
Yeah.
Um, and I think maybe 3 Mega City wins or something.
Yeah.
So
I think last weekend it was like
uh,
2. It was like just that weekend. So yeah, Seb's been doing great.
yeah, which makes sense because the nerf to Seb in the 2605 ban list was Ashen Epilogue, which hurt his matchups against kind of grindy Glacier decks, which were mostly in MLSU. So
Mhm.
now that that threat is gone, I think the Ashen ban no longer impacts Seb that much in most matchups. Uh, so I think a lot of people are respecting Seb now, and it'll be interesting to see if anyone has come up with a good corpse side solution to the labor menace.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun to watch today. And hey, with that, I mean, we have about 90 players coming out here and playing in the paper at Cascadia in Bellevue, Washington, at the Mox boarding house, which I've never been there yet, but it looks like such a charming venue. So we'll be back again. You're watching the 2026 America's Continentals, and we'll be back for round 3 in just a bit. Don't go anywhere.
See?
Grandmaster. And now, broadcasting live from our Near Earth Hub studio, we bring you this NBN Special Report.
America's Continentals at Cascadia. My name is Andre from the Metropol Grid. I'm joined by Timmy. How's it going?
Hey, going great. One more round until the lunch break.
This is round 3 today. So we've seen some great games so far. We are looking at a table, I believe on the left. That is from your testing team from the West Coast. It's Night Ride playing some op. What can we expect about this deck? Is there anything you can share?
I don't want to spoil too much, but
Okay.
I think maybe three-ish. So I think our team has about 7 people playing. I think 3 other people are probably also on OB, and they've I think picked a different version than maybe what Necride is repping here. So
Okay.
I'll be curious to see his version in practice.
So
And
we
on the
do
right
see a bit
side,
of
we
this.
have
Yeah, go ahead.
Econometry.
Yeah, Wiki, she's
Uh,
a phenomenal player. If I'm not mistaken, her and Sokka won the draft tournament yesterday, so they already have had a fantastic weekend to start. And both of these players are currently still undefeated as we enter round 3, and both great players. Nightcride was top 16 at Worlds, I want to say last year.
top 8 at San Francisco, which is 2 years
Excuse
ago
me.
now.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Playing some
Uh,
good stuff. Criminal, if I'm not mistaken, has been just a great player. And Wiki playing some good Shaper. This is Magdalene, so some very strong fundamentals. Shaper, I'm assuming we're going to see that. Not going to be running too much, only running when you need to. The big question is how much can Op make you run? This is a matchup in which like I don't have too many data points for. The Op unbanned with 26 away is bringing back Svi, the Couture, Excavator, a card name I do struggle to say. So I'm going to say Excavator for a bit, and hopefully we'll get through it. But this is a matchup that has become, the most popular matchup at this event, and for no surprise, we've round one saw a really dangerous damage-based op deck, as much as we haven't seen anything get excavated just yet.
yeah, I believe Necride is on a bit of a more like hybrid between assets and rushing kind of ob. Really looking to, I think, prey on Anarch decks. So
Cool.
it'll be good to see how the Shaper matchup is for him.
He did go for the mulligan, and I think we saw in his early hand he had both the ZF, which is expected, but he also had a Sacrificial Zone expansion, which is like a very cool jammy card, one of the new cards from the last set that gets installed face up and gives you credits. But we are going to be mulliganing to this hand, and I think Wiki, she kept what she had. So 2 ice on the remote server, sorry, 2 installs on the remote server. The very early card, whether it survives, a Mavirus, a Regolith, an Antil, is so important in op. So we'll see if Wiki charges it or just finds the pinhole. Looks like she's going to be draw, probably have an econ play and install, and then get some Maggie install at some point there.
Yeah, this kind of jamming play is definitely usually what you want to do against Shapers. Really try to take advantage of their long setup time and get something going as early as possible. So it's looking promising for Ob.
So we'll see how explosive the play is. There we have the 2 econ plays here. This leaves us only 5 cards in hand, so we don't get the Magdalene install, but Antil will be the res there. So going up a card and a credit, and next turn that is 4 credits, an extra card, and a 2-cost installable, which we seem to be so important in these decks, whether it's Regolith or Holloman or just a piece of ice. And speaking of piece of ice, we have a big old one there in hand, the Pharaohs, which you don't totally expect to see, I think, in op decks, unless it is slower, bigger op decks. So we'll see if we're going to be advancing that card or just having a 7 credit kind of Brawn like card with a face check.
Yeah, I believe the logic might be that the Ferris tree line combo is kind of replacing the slots that might have been used for envelopment
Hmm.
um, as a like tough barrier that's hard to beat because a triple advanced Ferris has more than 6 strength, so it's a lot harder
Oh
to
yeah.
like Devil Charm, Crew away. And it's generally just a pretty tough ice to deal with for a lot of runners in this meta. Like Shapers are seemingly like more and more dependent on propellers, and without assistance, propeller can't do anything about a 10 strength barrier.
So we're gonna be stacking those environmental testing. Simulchip will get us our first charge off of the Maggie install, and I do think we just see in hand a VRcation, which makes me think, and it's kind of hard to tell from the top-down camera. There's a chance that this is like a 60 or 70 card Magdalene deck. I know we've seen a fair few of them. Minstrel's been playing them to great effect over the last Mega City season, and the idea is that it's a Maggie deck that runs a lot of cards. It has a lot of card draw, and so VRcation does sneak in there every once in a while. We'll see if Fo wants to play that sort of like inconsistent, consistent deck, or whether she's playing something more svelte. But yeah, that's an interesting archetype that I haven't seen enough, as much as top tables results are definitely backing it up.
Yeah, the big mag decks have been catching on. More and more big runners and
Hmm.
difference, and big courts as well with Ob. Um,
Looks like the bird
yeah,
is
I
going to show
wish.
up the Liga Tucana in their remote server. We do have the HQ Ice too, which is like not super common against Shaper. Like Illumination is a 3 of in this list if it's big mags, but the HQ pressure is mostly against like things like Burner, which I don't know if you're expecting to see. So maybe that tells you the hand is a bit goofy. I don't think we see too much rough in there. I think maybe there's one as Yef, whether you want to push it on the Tucana. We do have 9 credits, which should threaten 2 ice, but maybe after the reses will feel a bit less great in the pocketbook.
Yeah, Wayland does have a lot of ice that's especially good to put on HQ in Winchester
Hmm.
and Afshar.
That's true.
And generally just a good place to defend. You're drawing a lot of cards with your anthills and uh, maybe like searching up spin doctors and stuff. So good to keep the hand at least a little protected.
No, R&D is iced up. Card on top of the Tucana means Tucana will fire probably no matter what. We are not playing the Verification. We are actually just drawing up, and I think we have now a Muse in hand. We did draw another Econ card, so making sure we have the hand count here. We probably want to install a card and then Maggie install a card just to make the environmental testing, get us that extra 18 credits in the near future. Because just on 3, we're not threatening a lot. And yeah, obviously a lot of money is tied into those 2 resources.
So in pretty much every testing game I played against Nightcride in this position, the card in the remote would be an above the law. So we'll see if one of
Oof.
these environmental testings can be popped or maybe sniped.
Early propeller threading the fractors, or sorry, threading the barriers, and we're on 2 counters. Looks like it's just a humanoid, so that's going to be a 1 cost into a 0 cost. We'll see if we're on Mitra or more likely a Spin Doctor, but that is going to be draw 3 after you do the filter. So with Spin Doctors, draw 5. What is that? Oh, it's a Sphere. Of course it is. That's a nice little line, isn't it?
Yeah, humanoid is
Welcome
a
back.
crazy amount of value in Ob. Yeah,
Yeah,
welcome
imagine that.
back, old friend.
Install a 4 cost trashable that threatens forward tempo, draw 3 cards, play an operation, install 2. Like, so good. Let alone, mind you, the credits I even forgot there. We're seeing some cards in hand. It's the second Sphere, I believe. I do think we now have the above the law in hand, which I do think Wiki can respond to that if she installs 1 more card and pops the Simul chip. So that is an interesting tension when it comes to the triple advance next turn. I don't know if we have the event, but we do also see log jams in hand for that sort of like Pharaoh's expend line that you talked about earlier.
Oh, okay. So a lot of advanceable ice.
So see what we're putting on the table. I can't tell you what the best operation is here. We saw an early hedge fund. So again, there's no more extract in the format. We've been at an extract list a year mostly. But double install, we have the
Yeah,
petty cash. Nice.
it's been interesting seeing Obdex because Sfidogor Excavator was banned first, and then
Yep.
Extract was banned, and now Sfidogor is free. So it's interesting seeing like every permutation of the possible economy options for Ob.
It looks like an Ozzy in hand. It looks like Wiki's considering that. That means we'll take down this Svi for only 3 credits this turn. But it does mean with the revolver as well, we're going to be charging up fully our 2 copies of environmental testing. So the money will come in. The question is, what are we needing to contest the remote server? And honestly, Fractor Sentry Breaker might just do it.
Yeah, Wayland known for not having too many code gates. I'm guessing this deck is not on Toxin, which is the main new code gate
Yeah.
option Wayland has received.
So revolver does break cheaply. Propeller also. These are some of the cheaper breakers, and it's pretty common for Wiki to make like those important cheap runs that Shaper does. Eventually, we might see a Doom rig, but there's a chance you can get the right runs off before you need to transition to Echelon and Unity, and that sort of like system gateway type affair.
Yeah, having the simul chips to recur revolver makes it such a powerful option.
So 2 credits off our Azimut, going to take this fee down. It has the 4 trash cost last click, of course, the VR-cation, so we don't spend that extra action on it. So we're going to draw 4, which will put us over hand size, but luckily Magdalene doesn't entirely care. We can install here a hardware or a program clicklessly using the text off of that Shaper ID. I assume, Timmy, you'd be a Mags player. Is that correct?
I've not played very much Mags, no. What makes you think so?
I don't know. Like installing cards. Who doesn't? Weren't you at the last Worlds playing Isla?
That's right. I love
That
Iris
seems kind of
Rahim.
similar. Yeah, that's kind of a similar, idea, right?
I think Magdalene might be a little too mainstream for me.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? You gotta look at the numbers of players playing it, and that's a decision point. But no, I respect that. Looks like we didn't get the Maggie install there. And so started turn triggers. We're gonna have a virus. So this is probably gonna be a tempo purge. Whether this grabs a Holoman, and mind you, we're doing this on the runner's turn, so we could still technically do op on the corpse turn. So op, if you're not familiar, says that you can search your deck for a card that costs 1 less and install it and res it for no credit cost. So that is gonna be a not installed from HQ Holoman. So we can even score out a 5-3 here if we want to and still fire Tucana. So there's a lot of value here. Or just push a 3-2 and then still have 2 clicks left to install more things.
Yeah, Necrite is going full steam ahead. See if the
Yeah.
first agenda gets scored here. First, petty cash from the bin.
Again, we probably have no synergy pieces with this, so you don't hold it for a Plutus or anything like that. Just it's 4 credits for a click. We're gonna go for 4 advancements on the card in the remote server. That's gonna be an above the law.
Oh,
No
there it is. One step too late. Wow, that's huge. If that had gotten one of the environmental testings, that would be a swing of 9 credits.
Yeah, huge. Now, seeing what we want to grab from the Tucana, this will res and install an ice for only 3 credits less, which is still very quite good, but you do show face up what this is. Event Horizon makes a fair bit of sense. Revolver just uses bullets, not real credits. But otherwise, if you want to go for a code gate before we have a code gate breaker, I think Wiki does have a Muse in hand, which can get you to the right breaker, or the Palangi, which is also relatively common as a stopgap solution in these decks with cheap breakers.
Yeah, with Wiki being able to pop those environmental testings and get some breakers out, it seems like Necrite probably has to shore up the remote more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the Event Horizon there. That's like a force multiplier on the remote because you can force the runner through those 2 unres dice a second time at some point during the game.
Mhm.
And
We've seen.
hopefully this can
Go ahead.
protect the Hollow Man and Tucana long enough for them to get a little more extra value.
Yeah, ideally, I don't think we've seen a Holoman today fire more than once before it gets trashed. Wiki is, I think, on usually 3 pinholes in a deck like this. So that obviously can go archives and just take down these cards. But we're going to put a face up sack zone. When you advance this, you get 2 credits back functionally, 3 credits in I guess, in full, right? And we're threatening that out this turn. But see, Wiki needs, if she has what she needs to run this, I think she probably can. Oh, Hush in Hand
Probably.
also sick for the Event Horizon.
Yes. That would occupy the. No, she has no MU because Azimuth is 2 MU. So
Yep. I
without a
think she can definitely let the
console or.
Azimuth go, but
It
we'll
would get
see.
value if she can get into this remote.
Yeah. There's 3 credits worth of trashables in there. Notably, Tucana does fire if you don't couplet it on the turn that you steal the agenda regardless. But it looks like we're just going to set up Knickknack into Nuka. So saying you're going to get those 2 points, but once you get to 4, that's the rest. That's the end of the line maybe for the Shaper control.
Yeah. Also, sack zone expansion kind of encourages the corp to slow roll it. So it's possible
True.
that she has a second turn to be able to steal the agenda.
Have you ever seen someone haul him in a sack zone? Like you advance it and then you still haul him in it for, I want to say tempo, but that doesn't feel right.
I've not seen this. Feels like you're losing out on a lot of money, but
You
you do what
are.
you have to do.
I mean, sometimes you do it. Like pushing a 5-3 in this remote server does put you on game point if you have it in hand. But another turn, no Maggie fire there. So just 2 setup cards. The Azimut is probably the fodder to open up the MU and push yourself forward with the Knickknack, which on the first run can trash one of your installs to get the credit cost and card drawback.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense if she still hasn't drawn her console,
The
which
setting up your
I'm
hand.
guessing would be a lily pad.
Yeah, seems right. This doesn't look like a Madani list, I don't think.
Any deck could be on Hermes in this meta, so that's possible.
Could install your agendas face up every once in a while, huh?
Yes, that's one of my favorite things about Sacrifice Zone expansion. really enjoying the Oaktown renovation 2.0.
So Night Guard's really thinking this through. Again, we have a couple different lines here. We can just score that out and pass without presenting any problems, which against Shaper, you generally want to present problems if you can. Again, you have the Tucana Fire here, which is another decision point. You could slow advance the agenda, get a bit of value, and then just keep building. I think we saw a couple cards in the hand. We have a Svi in there, which you could put on the table to take a click and some credits. I think we have an access to the Chrysium Grid reprint, which his name is evading me, flagship, I believe.
Hmm.
Petty cash. So unless we're Hollomaning this, I think we're going to leave this on the table. So advance and Holloman.
Oh,
We did it.
wow, wow.
Love to see it. So advance to game 3, Holloman to put the last 2 advancements on it so you can petty cash too. And it's like a bit of a wash, but like you do get there and you put the petty cash in archives. Interesting.
Did Night spend a click advancing the sack zone, or no?
I think
Just with
so.
the
I think it was advance, Holloman, petty cash. I think this is the whole turn.
very interesting. And what's that new ice on R&D?
That is a full art CBI white space, which we don't have decoder yet, but we have the money to just go through it. Sometimes you just want a 2-cost res on the table. Not that we don't have already 2, but it's a free white space. And oh no, I guess we didn't advance it. I think we just Holloman it. So we just went Holloman, petty cash, Holloman, install, which is good. That pushes you forward. This can be game point.
Yeah, this play makes more sense. I think
Yes,
Night
yes.
just trying to rush as quickly as possible and force Wiki to have to run before setting up everything before like drawing into her console and everything she needs.
And if this does, and it kind of does look like a 60 card, 70 card Shaper deck, right? Like sometimes they don't draw in the right order. So just going as fast as you can is super important. The couplation, not super important. Spec work, it's just going to sell the Azimut, which, mind you, you could run and get a similar idea, but we're just going to get more cards in hand. So the question is, do you want to find your pinhole? If you pinhole the Holloman, and we just got a pinhole there,
There's a
that
pinhole.
buys you, yeah, you no longer have to run the remote server guaranteed this turn.
Yeah, that's huge. But yeah, I do think these really rushy like Wayland or HP decks are kind of the problem matchups for these big mag decks. You're
Mm-hmm.
just very reliant on your draw order sometimes, but getting that pinhole just in time, it seems.
Yeah, I believe the list should be on 3, but you do have to find it. And the pinhole here, you have to watch out. The knickknack can fire. I don't think we have a great way to set that up. We have a lot of cards in hand, and Maggie doesn't mind that usually. You're a 60 card deck, 70 card deck. You can discard stuff. It's fine.
Okay, here comes the pinhole.
So
Gotta
looks like
be
we'll eat the
Hollow
knickknack
Man.
trigger. Holloman coming down for 2 credits. So now the remote server could still be an agenda, but it's not necessarily a 5-3 unless there's a lot of slash and burns in hand, which we don't have a good read on that. Lilypad does come down, so I believe now we can still fire Magdalene and draw a card and pass our turn with 6 in hand. And I think we have a coalescence right there in the middle.
Looking smooth for Mag.
Oh, that card on the far right, the foil one, that is also a deep dive. That is pre-Nick Altart, an Italian artist. So the deep dive is in hand, and there is 3 ice on central, which is a bit much at this point in the game, considering we can just rush in a remote server. But again, you do have to respect the pressure, and we saw the first event horizon. Ooh, just an anthill, so another card and another credit. So Holloman taking a hit here, but not the actual like necessary pull down.
Yeah, protecting the anthill here is quite good. Both decks are really
They're
humming
doing good.
along, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Notably, Wiki did discard Coalescence and Copulation and did not install the Copulation. So that Tucana might get another trigger if Night can jam another agenda in there next turn.
Yeah, the compilation is really interesting that can deal with that persistent text. Ooh, Cultivate, a card that's slipping into more and more Wayland decks. It gives you that sort of agency. Op can shuffle too, so if your deck just doesn't look good, you sometimes can just fire something to like get some different options. But this card looks at the top 5 of your deck, draws one, discards one, and rearranges the next 3, which can be quite important if you need to know what your next turns look like.
Yeah, I think this card is has proven to be a sleeper hit for a lot of us because some of us
Yeah.
remember Precognition from original
Yeah.
core set, and that card was almost never playable. But it turns out if you add like draw a card and trash a card of your choice and add some cards that want to be trashed, it's quite a potent card. I
Do
think
you remember?
Nightcraw's been kind of addicted to it lately.
You remember Psychokinesis? Like they tried to recook that card a couple times. This is like a very good version
Hmm.
of it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
they've never managed to make it too good. There was like Heritage Committee, that
Yeah.
was okay.
So we
Uh,
got a decision point here. This does take some time. Again, you can take notes, of course. It doesn't look like either of these players are. Maybe Wiki actually is off camera. But just watching again where these cards go. Now, if we had a 3-2 agenda, I think we might have considered pushing in the remote server next turn. So, like, I don't know if Nightride has agendas in hand because I think the remote server, like, even if Wiki blows everything to get into it just to steal 2 points, you might have been happy with that trade.
yeah, as like Rush Whaling, I think you're kind of just trying to make these trades and make them as favorable as possible. And definitely a big part of Cultivate is just finding your next agenda to jam
Yeah.
as quickly as possible.
I do think, of course, we have to mention we are in threat 4, so there is an extra texture of measured response. Looks like we're going to install what looks like a SFI into a new remote server and go and spend a credit to put 3 advancements by expending our tree line on what we know as the camera from the top. That should be a 10 strength Pharos, which you cannot deal with a single copy of Propeller. It's going to actually put 2 Hush targets on the server, which is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, really interesting to see what Wiki will decide to do with that Hush.
Oh, Spin
Okay,
Doctor. Not the
looks like
SFI that we
she's
saw in hand.
yeah,
We
makes
were,
sense
yep.
that she would want to check to make sure it's not SPI, which could, let the corp do whatever they want. So she just wants to check it. Although she no longer has Azamat to pressure assets quite as efficiently.
Yeah, her money is good. And we did sell that coalescence to make some more soup. So that's 2 credits on a card draw. We see a Plongi in hand too, which means like we can get through pretty good servers. Mavirus, I believe, went back with a Holoman. So you're expecting multiple Maviruses. So you don't always always rely on the Plongi.
Is there a Pelongi in hand?
Yeah, I believe that's the far right card, the most colorful one. It was like a world promo at Toronto.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting whether to rely on Pelongi against the 3 Mavirus deck.
Coalescence going to cycle forward the lily pad. We found our second copy of the pinhole, and pinholing the Antil is like interesting. I don't think you're expecting actually like hard defensive upgrades, and that card is again a 3-cost card being installed for free next turn, 4 more credits and a card draw, and the money here is not incredible. Like we're only on 12 credits, and so if you res a Pharos for 7, like that's going to be financially a huge hit for you. So we're actually poking HQ.
Yeah, force a res or just maybe get some information, maybe trash a measured from hand.
Spin Doctor was fired mid-turn there, so when the corp can't filter their hand, it gets a bit interesting. And Afshar, you talked about the good ice on HQ. This is definitely one of the good ice on HQ.
Yeah, just extra taxing on HQ.
So looks like we might not break this. It's a 2 credit loss on the face check. You can't break all the subroutines, but regardless, end the run, lose 2 credits. I think we still have a couple clicks left. There's the Plongi Wiki is looking at, and that card that was grabbed there, I believe, was a Peach of Shao for a second.
Yeah, it's an awkward decision because she doesn't want to put out the Pelongi too early when it might just get instantly purged by Mavirus. So
So
she's
Peach of
putting out
Shao.
Peach of Sound instead. Does decide to install the Pelongi finally.
So we are
Just too
threatening a
many important cards in hand.
This is a deep dive threat technically on this board state. We have enough money. The question is, how do we get through the code gates? With the Plongi, it's only once per turn. The ice you're encountering can become any type. But it looks like we're not going to be stopping with that pinhole. Now, we could also use the pinhole for like pseudo exposed in the near future. This also does take another non-agenda out of the deck, which could help if you want to pivot centrals. But we'll see what 3-coster we get here. Looks like, oh, of course, it's a 2-coster. It's a
2 cost.
Holoman. Yeah, right on.
Comes right back. Yeah, it's so good.
So that was just shuffled back. We don't expect these decks to run multiple Holomans. They're usually just on one, and then the Spin Doctor will make it more relevant over and over again.
Just cycle it back, search it up again. The op cycle.
Top deck there, full art. Looks like a piece of ice, and I think we still have an Azyef there in the hand, so you can choose to score it out. I think that's an Azyef.
I assume that's a fairly likely play to just get that agenda in safely in the scoring zone and maybe try to snipe like a deep dive or other important tools from the
Do you
grip.
do you ever trash the Pichashon iced with the Azyef cost and just get a 2-coster and say like, okay, you lost the Pichashon, now your Simul chip is a bit more busy?
Yeah, absolutely. That piece just has an important tool. And, as long as you have a good 2 cost dice to get here, it seems like a fine trade.
I think we also saw it in hand, and I don't know if it's been discarded, but if you can figure out how to trash a 4-coster, which I don't think you want to trash the Vent Horizon, you can always go grab the oh, Sack Zone, wow. So putting it face up on the table. Now, this is not game point, so you could consider letting this through, but Wiki needs access to points for sure. Install an HQ for credit.
Yeah, playing is still more of a value game. Like, I think it's good to make the runner contest the remote. That
Yeah.
will lower their resources for the deep dive attempt.
We don't have off-world office, but notably, like this 4-2 in the remote server is technically a 6 credit agenda, right? Like it's not exactly off-world office for a couple different reasons, but like the money with most of this ice being unresed is going to go relatively quickly, especially if a Pharaohs has to come into conversation.
Yes. Although, yeah, if Necrod has to res a bunch of ice, he probably can't do the same play he did with the first sacrifice zone and
Yeah.
use
Yeah, tempo
Hollow
zone,
Man on
yeah.
it again.
So Nuka is finishing. We see another Muse in hand. I think we've seen one early. I don't know where it went off to. I believe that's an extra propeller in the middle there. So our MU, we have a fair bit. And again, when we install one of these, we push ourselves forward. This deck should be on multiple DZs. And at this point, we've installed a fair few programs without getting that extra value. Not that we need the MU. I think a daily cast is in there as well.
This Maggie deck is really for people who love drawing cards.
Oh, it's fun. Drawing cards is the most fun thing you can do in this game.
It's not making run.
No, I mean, you can do both. You got Knick-Knack, right?
Sure. Knick-Knack has trashed like 1 or 2 cards this game.
I think only 2 cards, yeah, so far. But we haven't been making that many runs over the last couple turns, so it's nice to have that where you always know if you interact, we are going to get a card draw and 2 credits off of that coalescence. That's just sitting there.
Yeah, but Fa's really
No,
prioritizing drawing into the tools she needs from the presumably giant deck.
so a 3 advanced card on the remote server. Your read is like this could either be a logjam or a Pharaohs. Both of those really do attract the attention of the hush that we have in the heap. We've only seen one simulchip so far, but even the Muse play like makes a bit of sense. The problem is like it's hard to use the hush in 2 places during the run because of the event horizon. So like if you're gonna have to run it twice, you probably need to end up hushing the Pharaohs. But then if you hush the Pharaohs, you can't even get it through twice with the same propeller.
Yeah, Ferris is that 5 strength is still a good breakpoint.
I wonder if you're happy just getting a res for 7 to bounce.
I think that could definitely be a legitimate play. It's still expensive to get through the event horizon with
Yeah.
Revolver, but you can do it. If she thinks she's ready to like pressure the centrals as well, that
Yeah,
could be
exactly.
a pretty
Yeah,
economical.
that's like the setup to get so deep dive is like way more possible the next turn or so. And like an event horizon on centrals is going to be not horrible with the Peach Shaw, and notably with the simulchip Peach Shaw, you can get that same Peach Shaw to fire twice on the deep dive turn if you need to make that like 2 clicks back to be able to steal up to 4 points. Do you know if this list is on 3 point agendas? Like we haven't seen that many 3 pointers in op today so far.
I'm not positive. It seems like a lot of objects are moving away from 3 pointers.
Yeah.
Tukana does somewhat suggest smaller agendas, but I think with Hollow Man, you often want a 3 point agenda to be able to score out very efficiently.
Oh,
Okay,
she's hushing.
she's
That's the
making a play. Yeah,
Pharaohs. I thought there was a hush in archives. I don't know if she's on 2. I think that's just the one that she had and she kept it in hand. So it looks like we're committing for the remote server. Now, the card that we drew off of the lily pad is not going to change this turn, so we're going to chop that. We're going to start by hitting our trigger here off of the. Oh, we're not knickknacking the coalescence.
I guess she wants to save the coalescence for
Yeah, she might
simulchip.
not need the card draw here, right?
That makes sense. Yeah,
7
there's the
credit
Paris.
res. Now this thing has 3 advancements, so normally it'd be 10 strength, but we did mute that ice by cutting off its text with the hush. It just does not have text. So that's going to be 3 credits and 3 propeller counters, which is a total steal, just like a Braun is. The question is, we're considering simulchipping this. So now that we're past it, and while holding priority, she can do this, which is so cool.
Oh,
That is a
yeah,
line
what a
and a
line.
half. Yeah.
So that's why she declined the knickknack trigger because she wanted to trash the hush
Yeah,
with the simulchip.
exactly. That's so cool. So the idea is that when you break subroutines, you hold priority because it's a paid ability window. So after she breaks the 3 subroutines with the propeller, she can now just move the hush functionally backwards to blank the end the run, which forces us on 7 credits here, and we still have access to the Plongi. So the worst case here, we can always deal with any ice outside of like I guess it would have to be as fly swatter. Just a Kesselroid. We have exactly enough credits and counters. Well, more than enough credits. We have enough propeller counters to set that up for another knickknack. It looks like we're in. What
What a
a
play.
line.
Yeah,
Wow.
amazing
For
find.
First 2 points. This is going to fire Tucana here. So we'll see what we want to get here. Our money has kind of fallen apart on the corp side. So there's no like econ positive ice in the format really at this point.
Something
So we'll
like a
see what we,
tithe would be very cheap.
yeah, sometimes one of those do sneak in these lists. Centrals now are just held down by two very cheap code gates, and Wiki still has good money. 10 credits left with a coalescence, and like we have two really easily set up triggers on Knickknack for the following.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for her, but she does still need like a long-term solution to the Pharaohs, it seems. Now that she can move the hush back, I guess she needs
Yeah.
another propeller, and then she can only do the same trick so many times.
But I bet she will. That run was so cool. This is why I played Neverwinter. That was such a sick turn.
Yeah, clearing out those upgrades is huge.
So now the board state, that's still a good remote server. Like, don't get us wrong, right? Like, that is still an issue. It does require a propeller. It does require a hush move. Notably, you can click to move hush. A lot of people forget about that. But then if you want to do the trick, which like at some point Nightcrane might not have seen that line. I know I didn't. But like you can kind of interact with it. It's just like you have to do it at a weird spot before you break the Pharaoh. So it's like not particularly good.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting what Night tries to do now, knowing the hush is on the board.
Yeah.
It's quite a puzzle. Uh,
We get
like he can
new
probably
comp.
figure out that it's pretty tricky for her to do the same thing again. Oh, there's a second propeller though, so that's another important tool.
Now, Wiki has gone low on liquid credits. We do have a daily cast down. You can always just like sell that to Knickknack if you need to get the money a bit faster, as much as we do have the access to the coalescence. But it looks like it's just a regolith take 6, so it's a 4 credit turn. Now the regolith is much more interesting in the future, but Nightgrad is building up, knowing there's a bit of threat off the central servers with a deep dive. But I think both players are probably going to be setting up this turn. Maybe we can get a nice run here to fire our Knickknack, which would be pretty reasonable. But I'm not sure exactly where we put that. Maybe, like I guess archives, you could see cards. I don't know.
Makes sense that Necred wants to get his money back up. These objects can burn through their money so quickly.
Looks like we're doing that chop, so we're just sending that card forward into soup just to see the face downs. Looks like a hedge fund, a tree line, and I think there's another card in there that's slightly off camera. But I mean, that's a good click for credit. It looks like it was another excavator just thrown out.
So, next turn, Necrad can clear the regolith, search up some kind of one cost. Have we seen many one costs from his deck yet?
I don't think we've seen any.
It's
I think
probably a
Chad is
tithe.
calling out MU issues. I think we're good on MU, aren't we? Aren't we at 6? Oh no, we have the
Seem to
Pichon.
be.
We're over MU here. Yeah, we've been over MU last
Oh
turn
wow.
too. Yeah, we're not judges of the table. We can't call a judge over. If that gets caught, that gets caught. But yeah, we are at 7 MU, which is a tricky thing to fix. I mean, we have an empty propeller, so it's like definitely fixable. But yeah, the Pichon hiding
It's
behind that
rough.
face down piece of ice is
Yes,
an easy thing to miss.
the two separate Trojans as well.
Yeah. So Regolith is going to take 3 credits deeper. We'll see if we empty it and get a 1 coster and pass and discard a card. Again, Night Ride here still has to figure out how to score out in this remote server, and it's not
Yeah, just
not a bad
overriding
remote
it.
server. Double install. So we know where the Hollow Man is here. So I don't know if you're worried about Hollow Man into a 5/3. That being said, just like a tempo 1 pointer or 2 pointer on top of, I'm not sure, a Malapert. We don't exactly have the money here, but there's some world in which there's a weird line with a petty cash or something that you can do Myoshu to close the game out, which we haven't seen much Myoshu today, but that does require big money to go from, again, 5 to 7 off of even a green mail. Like this could be green mail Myoshu in theory, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, sure. It's a very scary card for these setup runners to have to think about.
Back to Wiki. Has a relatively smooth, small access to a little bowl of soup for a card and a credit. Fermenter is not something you can rely on for big money, considering we've seen Mavirus in the list. Now running archives might be a bit more expensive if the Mavirus is still in there poisoning it. Looks like we're chopping HQ, sending that propeller that's empty to the bin for a card and a credit. So this after we can't actually break here. So like you could jack out, or we could use a Plonky counter. So we'll see if she wants to go for the actual deep dive threat this turn.
Yeah, what would her way of getting through? She would need to Pelongi here and then just run through the white space.
Yeah, I think so. Ooh, Event Horizon. Now that is putting us off the Myoshu credits. This you definitely want to deal with at least one subroutine. The end the run subroutine you could let fire, but it looks like we're gonna go deeper. Now the big thing about the Event Horizon, obviously, it's like very favorable when it comes to deep dive. But the big thing on top of that is you can use that if you have oh man, what's the Chrism called again? The flagship? To put it on a
Flagship.
different central server or even that central server to make that run not considered successful. I think we did see a flagship in Night Ride's hand earlier. I don't know if that got shuffled back. I don't think so. Or whether there's two in
Probably
the
not.
deck. I'd be surprised. So
Yeah. I guess Wiki is considering whether she can just go for a dive now. Have we seen dive in her hand?
yeah, we have she has an altered foil dive, which is quite nice. So it looks like we're painting the Afshar. We're gonna lose 2 credits. We don't have the boost. We do just shoot that with a revolver. So Event Horizon will get cracked proactively here. Down on only 8 credits. We'll see what 3-coster we get, whether it's just a flagship or I don't know what in the remote server could be really good here. In theory, you could get an Antil, I guess. But I think
Is there a
Central's is the
window
real big
to
stage. Sorry?
is there a window to use the Event Horizon to deny the Peach attack click?
There is, yes. Because I think Pichashan is when you pass. So you can do that after the runner has paid to break, but before they get the click back. So there should be a window.
It's quite decent.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was caught. That's like a pretty finicky thing. But Pichashan is when you pass host ice. So breaking subroutines is a paid ability. And so after the runner breaks, before they resolve, you can respond. So we'll see if that's what Nightgride did here, or whether Wiki got the click back. The problem is if you do it then, she doesn't lose 2 credits to the Afshar. If you want to trade 2 credits for a click, it's up to you to figure that out.
Oh, because the subroutine hasn't fired yet. It's really tricky.
Exactly, yeah. As soon as subroutine's resolved, there's no more paid ability window.
Okay, so Necrod does just search up a Masquerovka as a 4th ice on the remote. The remote
I
is
mean, we're
looking pretty
stack-
sturdy.
stacking barriers. Yeah, I think Nightgrade definitely wants to push here. On 8 credits, any agenda in their remote server could be an issue. But we don't expect this to be Holloman into a 5-3, which we do have the money to technically threaten that. That's like an 8 credit play, which is exactly what we have.
Yeah, but there's a good chance it's an agenda because he did trash Regolith with 6 credits on it to install it.
Yeah.
And if he can score this turn and then threaten to score out next turn, a deep dive may not be enough for Wiki unless she gets lucky with her central accesses.
We do have a pinhole in hand if you want to like scout one of these cards. If it's an agenda you're a bit unhappy, like so we're going to play for it and go for a 50-50 here. So running archives, which is still open. We can touch one of these cards and see what it is. If it's a Tucana, I guess you take it down for 1. We'll be surprised to see a Holloman. It's, oh, good hit. Humanoid for 1 on top of an upgrade.
Yeah, pretty big. Denying the Rashida.
Yeah, so you see the card that's like kind of dark in the right side of her hand. That is a deep dive. She might even have 2, but she at least has 1 in her hand. Mavirus is off the draw. I think we have an Azief in hand, and we just drew him. We have a flagship. First click draw. Going a bit deeper. I can't tell what that blue card is, but there's a gridding Mavirus there if we want to purge through the fermenter, which Wiki would appreciate the money, but she definitely doesn't need the money. I think the Plongi is actually like the more relevant purge target.
Yeah, are there still 2 virus counters on that?
Just 1 because she revolvered the Afshar. So spin was one of the cards drawn. I think we have a hedge fund there. And we're seeing if we push that Azief. I think there's an Azief in the far left of the hand, which again, I don't know if we can go from 4 straight to 7. We might have to score more agendas, but I mean, Azief always does something and threatens to hit the deep dive from hand. This server looks good, right? Like I'm feeling good about the server.
It kind of has to be good. Like, Shaper is so tricky. You really can't count them out, but I don't know if Nightgride can afford to wait.
We're setting up our store there in RD. That's the flagship. So that's going to be an unsuccessful run. It's a huge trash on 4. 3 credit res is still relatively expensive. But unfortunately, we didn't present any problems this turn for the corporation. So Wiki can just continue to do what Wiki wants to do here. The daily cast, I think, is at the point where you can consider making it soup, and that's the soup run there. So 3 credits to draw a card, and Spin Doctor's going to be look like it's going to chase some agendas out back into R&D. So 1 face down, and we'll see whether it's the Holloman. My guess is the shuffle back, but I couldn't catch it really quickly. I don't know if you did.
No, but I guess Wiki did commit to access to make Nightgride use this Spin Doctor.
Oh, for sure.
It's
And I mean,
interesting if
like,
there's still a virus in there.
Yeah, that's true. We also don't think we've seen him measured yet, but that might have been one of the full arts we saw in the hand. Which, if you make a successful run, you have to be worried about whether you have equal amounts of 8 credits and/or 4 cards in hand. And Wiki is definitely good on both of those fronts.
Yeah, she's playing really well this game.
SMC, I think we're over MU on that SMC. I'm not sure what's happening. I think they're trying to rewind it. The thing is, like, she drew a card, so this might be a judge call, but that SMC is 2 MU. On top of the table, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 MU. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of
That's
MU
a lot of
issues this
MU.
game.
Yeah, we haven't seen a DZ yet, and this deck definitely runs a play set of those, or at least two, I guess. But that is something that is easy to fix. It's a bit harder now that we've drawn a card. So we'll see what the judge does for this. I'm assuming you might be able to get just a deck shuffle, but then like it's a bit tricky. We'll see again. The judges are definitely here, and huge shout out to the judges for sorting out these like tricky things to be fixed.
Yeah. In addition, we've been notified that it's actually time in the round has been called.
Oh, really? Oh, time is in the round. So that is going to be 4 points for Night Ride, 2 for Wiki. If you're not familiar with how Netrunner works here, the active player, which it looks like it's Wiki, as much as maybe the rules question might grant a small time extension, Wiki gets a finish her turn, and then Night Ride gets one more turn. And whoever's on higher points gets a full win, which means Wiki here, who has, I think, only spent 2 clicks so far, was installing an SMC to get the lily pad draw, just needs to send it centrals and just say, like, okay, I'm going to run R&D or run HQ and have a good chance of finding something. You could actually maybe even do a small deep dive, but I think we've spent one too many clicks to run that.
How many clicks has she spent here?
I think this has been run archives, install SMC.
Hmm.
But like we are pretty sure that there is a flagship on R&D. So like I think you just have to go for accesses.
Yeah, Nightcride's kind of more passive play makes more sense if time was called.
Yeah.
He just wants to try to
Not
deny multi-access options and
yeah.
just hope that he doesn't give up too many agendas on this turn.
It looks like we're gonna be able to rewind this play and get the shuffle. That actually is really good for Wiki. I'm pretty sure here because that means she has 3 turns to deal with time. Now, time shouldn't have been a surprise for her. She should know that time was coming up. So maybe the SMC doesn't lock something. But because the order of the deck wasn't known, there's no like class act or anything. She can just full shuffle and just say like that's a warning. You have to be careful. So I think we have 3
I
clicks
assume
left
it's a
here.
deep dive try.
Yeah, she did run archives. The question is, do we still have the pinhole? We don't. And so the question, could you
Just a click
pinhole
to
in
draw.
theory? Yeah. Simon chip could unlock some stuff. We have compilation if we want to sweep HQ. There's a Simon chip for 1. We're going to use the fermenter. Again, we did have MU issues before. This only opens up 1 MU. We have only 1 open. And it looks like, I don't know if time can be called right there because I don't think she would definitely make a run if time was called. So they probably have 1 more
Yeah,
turn each or something like that.
maybe they have an extension because
Yeah.
they had to spend some time getting on stream.
Yeah. That does happen. We drew up their Night Ride. I do think had an agenda. I don't know whether Spin Doctor shuffled the only as yet we saw in hand for a bit, but centrals are where the pressure is here. The Simul Chip gives you access to the Peach Champ Flicker. We have access to all sorts of breakers. 2 pinholes are out, and that's the best case, I guess, against the flagship.
As
And
far
some
as
more
the
money.
remote, the simul chip also lets Fa do the same hush trick again, but
Mm-hmm.
1 propeller with 4 counters is not currently enough. It's just barely not enough to get through Maskarovka plus Pharaohs.
Yeah, you could Palangi, in theory, the
Oh,
outermost barrier and make it like a sentry, but we're going to be chopping here. We're going to use our Palangi immediately on the white space. We could just broke that for 3 credits, but we're actually going to pay through. You don't have to use propeller counters, which is cute. You just pay like 1 credit. Ooh, that's actually a pretty soft central. Kessleroid. Going to be a credit, or sorry, 2 credits and 1 counter. So we'll see the flagship get rezzed here, which means you can't multi-access, but that's not the goal here. We just need to make a successful run. She also now knows that she can use the simul chip, or sorry, on the Peach Champ aggressively, so she should be able to do a good deep dive here. Off the top, she finds an SDS. That's
oh,
so important.
yeah, there's that lucky snipe.
5 points. She's already ahead. If Night Ride doesn't have an agenda, the remote server, she doesn't even need to deep dive. She can just deny the remote, but I think she can still deep dive this turn. She can run back and she can generate 2 clicks, run HQ, run the remote. Sorry, run HQ,
I
run R&D, run archives.
I think the runner and corp are tied at 4 points.
I think it's 5-4 because she has a sack zone and SDS, right?
Oh, is that an SDS?
Yeah, that's an SDS. Yeah, it took down her
Well
her empty
spotted.
Palangi.
Yeah, that's a huge swing.
So she can still go for it. Now she wants to run HQ first. The thing is now, like, she has to figure out how to deal with the Afshar. She did technically not make a successful run, so it looks like we're still gonna just be able to do a small deep dive here. So Simulchip, unfortunately, yeah, well, no, it's good to go. She's trashed something, so she's just gonna refresh the Plongi. We'll Plongi through this, then we can tank R&D, run archives, and still deep dive from hand. So she can do a one-axis deep dive here, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait a turn. Do not accidentally reveal extra cards in this situation.
No, wait, that Simulchip should be expended, if I'm not mistaken. We don't
That
have
seems
like
right.
table audio, so it's sometimes hard to follow, but I believe the Simulchip was used to bring back the Plongi. So I think it can't be on the table, but maybe we missed something.
The players are pausing. Maybe time is finally being called for them. Maybe some other type of dispute.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this Plongi came back. Single access Mavirus. That purges the Plongi, which we've already used the Plongi this turn, which is good.
Don't put it into the heap.
Yeah. And we have enough money again. We need at least 10 credits when you hit the white space to not end the run. There we go. Okay, we remembered. Perfect. So we've only made a successful run on HQ, but we still have 3 clicks left. So we're going to go back. I mean, you could just win off trying to do the deep dive, which is a pretty classic Shaper play, but
Very common, yeah.
that's a measured.
Okay,
No,
not
Spin
quite.
Doctor.
Spin Doctor.
She can afford to trash that just so she sees one more card off the 8 dig.
But can she? Okay, she's gone through the white
Right.
space, so
Yeah.
she's good now.
So run archives here, deep dive is the play. She still has exactly 2 clicks left. The thing is, like, does she die to measured is the problem. Like, if she whips,
Probably, right?
she just
She's
dies to
expended so many
measured.
resources. Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing it,
Oh,
archives, deep dive. We're down to 3 credits.
okay.
I mean, if Nightgrade survives as the measured might end the game off the top. Oh, I can't deal with these. That's 2 points. She
That's the
has it.
agenda. There it is. GG.
Sack zone 2-7. She gets there. The remote server
Yeah.
has a virus in it, which I don't know if purging the Plongi actually mattered. Maybe there was a line there, but whether the measures or not were in hand. Wiki technically, I think, needed to steal enough to win the game here because I think Nightgrade had one more turn. Well played to
Did
both.
you? Well played. Did you see measured response in his hand?
I didn't see one. Maybe there was one there. I think he's playing the Mega City alt art, which I think off the stream camera doesn't come off so obviously, but it's a nice full art card. Well played to both. I mean,
Well played.
Nightgrade just out of the gate blasting through their remote server, and then things really stalled out with the Hollow Man. That play with the remote server flicker with the hush is like just peak Shaper gameplay. So cool to see that happen.
Yeah, seriously, that was play of the day so far for sure.
Oh yeah, well played to both players. Fantastic players from the West Coast. I reckon they played against each other a fair bit further south down the that coast, but. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is the end of the 3rd round. Now, really importantly, we're going to be having a lunch break. So all these folks here at the Mox boarding house will be able to order their drinks and their food. We'll be back, and I'm assuming about like 45 minutes, maybe a bit longer. I probably should look this up before I start saying stuff, but we'll be back after a short break. My name is Andre from the Metro Grid. Really excited to be here. I'll be returning for a couple rounds alongside Timmy. Timmy, how's your day been so far?
Oh, it's been great. I think I might step away for a bit. I'll probably be back later. But I
Okay.
think my comrade Zinchlang is going to step in my shoes for a few rounds.
Perfect. If I don't get to share a mic with you, it's been an absolute pleasure to share a mic with you for the first time. So
Yeah, it's
we'll
been a
maybe
true honor
catch
for
you.
me as well.
Don't go anywhere. You're watching the 2026 America Continentals at Cascadia. Leave a like on the stream if you're watching on YouTube. That's a huge help. And we'll be back after lunch break. Enjoy your lunch.
for volunteering your time to the Symbian Consumer Marketing Focus Group. Your opinions are valuable to us and we want to know what they are. Tell us everything. 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 Tell us everything. Everything. Everything.
in a bunch of things. And this is secure and protect? Oh, wait. just say cards, and if you're right, you get to play them.
Mental Netrunner is like a fun little thing you can do, I think.
Yeah.
So this op list is interesting, right? Like we're on 3 Eminence. Generally they do pair well with 2 Kanas. But then the question is like, what's the agenda suite? Are we running 3s and 1s, which is a possibility? Are we running as many small agendas to get that Tukana tempo, the Malapert tempo, and like have Myoshu be a bigger threat sooner than later? It's going to be interesting. Looks like we're back up. And so the board state seems like Svi was the card, the excavator stuck in the remote server. And so we're ripping up, I think, something here. I can't tell what got ripped up here because I looks like it's a
Looks
Stavka.
like
So
the
we're gonna look for
Stavka.
an Afshar.
Yeah, Afshar on HQ.
Let's go. We're so back. So Afshar on HQ. Looks like Kablushi's shuffling this up. Apparently my voice is not very good at this point.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like the Corp has basically been treading water for the last several turns. Aside
Yeah, this
from being able to fast advance that eminent domain, like we haven't seen the buildup that we usually expect out of these ob decks.
ops have like some of the most absurd explosive starts, right? Like if you stick a humanoid, that installs like 3 cards when it fires, some from your deck. And so like this is the sort of board state we expect on like turn. I mean, there's a lot of centralized. That's nice, but this does not look like the turn 5 or turn 6 I think we're entering. Now, meanwhile, Why Not's economy isn't there. We've seen no companions, we haven't seen
Hmm.
Keiko, no daily casts, a couple of events. It looks like a sure gambles on the top of the heap. But like while the breakers are there, that means that's good. You can interact. Wow, I forget the name of this card. This is from
Reduced
Ashes.
service?
Yeah, this card is expensive. So
Whoa.
I don't know if we're pulling this or not, but when you res this card, you can spend up to I believe 4 credits, and for
Let's
every,
see.
or is it 8 credits? But it puts counters on it, and it basically says if you don't run this, there's an additional cost to run this server. But if you make successful run on other server, it removes counters. The question is, how much did Kabushi pay to put on top of this thing?
Looks like it might only have been a couple. Hard to
Yeah.
say.
So it's 4 credits for 4 counters. And now to run this, if it has 4 counters on it, is an 8 credit additional cost. So it's other successful runs. And that's like maybe why the BOAC on archives can be a bit better for her board state. Now, I can't tell how many counters are on this. When it's empty, it doesn't trash itself, which is kind of cool. It doesn't really have text unless you can figure out how to derez it. But I mean, it's still like technically op fodder, which is kind of cool.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely an interesting defensive upgrade that we just don't see very often. They
Yeah, a bit
manage.
more of like Earth Station support from that era, but having
Hmm.
like relevant zero costers has been like a always a pretty nice inclusion here in op.
No.
And why not? Does get some more card draw down. We see Nuka a lot of that no nonsense influence spend that you're not surprised to see out of these sort of loo lists. And while we have access to all our breakers, it's just actually the decoder that's evading us. And the Afshar on HQ looks to be holding pretty steady. Now, any successful run is actually really quite valuable because it removes those counters from the reduced service and makes that HQ run, or sorry, the R&D run cheaper and cheaper. So
Hmm.
like, I don't know if you're happy to go through the BOAC, but you can probably relatively cheaply with enough counters and a twinning, but nothing to charge it just yet. Let's see if those companions show up sooner than later.
Yeah, we really runner's econ is just very. You're not seeing that when you don't see that drip that you expect to see. It can really just kind of slow your deck down. And so yeah, you can't. You can take the counters off reduced service by making runs, but the corp has one thing they've been doing good is making sure there are not easy servers to run.
Now
Everything
this
is
is
ice. Ice is annoying.
This is our first game that we've actually seen an excavator, I think, do a lot, being a recently unbanned card. And currently now it's actually made 6 credits for Kablushi and moved around a lot of cards. This traded the Tithe, which definitely was a good ice, but even just the reduced service alone is a good enough deterrent, and replaced itself with a Spin Doctor. So start of turn, we get 3 cards and 3 credits, which is, Rashida-like effect. It seems quite nice. So we'll see what Kablushi does here with all the options she has in hand.
Yeah, imagine if Rashida cost you 4 to trash,
That's
and you
pretty
could do
good.
it turn after turn.
Let's
Like,
see if we
you know,
we now use the excavator to trash the BOAC to search for a 13 coster. One day we'll have that.
someday.
Now we're
One of the
popping. the spin doctor. There's no window to do this between the excavator and the mandatory, so it looks like we want to putting I think a second spin doctor on the table because this is a pretty aggressive push, unless we have like some sort of draw operation. But the cards shuffle back. I don't know if I caught both of them. I think one of them was a Mavirus.
Sounds about right. Uh, I think we definitely are doing some hand fixing here, though.
hmm Now, usually step one for these decks is like stick a Regulus, stick an economy asset. And while Kabushi's money is doing reasonable, there you go. The second spin makes sense why the first one got chased out like that. Usually, yeah, the Mavirus into like a Regulus is a pretty reasonable play. But we'll see. You're going to see these fees, I think, a lot of the time now in the 2608 meta, especially against Lou, get iced up. So you do
Mhm.
actually generally build like two iced servers, just because the excavator is like definitely worth trashing if it's iced, uniced, even at 4 cost.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, if it's Lou, you have the advantage. And even then, like against some runners, you just don't want to leave an open server if you can help it. You know,
Especially with
uh,
reduced service, eh? Right? Like every
yeah,
server is a liability with reduced service, which is kind of cool fun.
yeah. Okay, making a run, forcing the spin doctor to pop. Makes sense.
Yeah, again, my stream VOD is a bit low resolution, so I've been watching off just like YouTube. So I think my commentary is gonna have like a 6 or 7 second delay, but I mean things will make sense, I hope. Cards getting shuffled back. Is that a measured, I think?
Ooh, that would be
I couldn't
fun.
tell where the full art was, but it looked kind of like a measured.
I
So
did not
two
catch
cards
it,
going back
so
in. Now, this run is no longer successful nor unsuccessful. Big thing is the reduced service does lose counters, and I believe we were told it has 4 counters on it. So that is going to stay good. The question is whether you want to face check the remote server, and I think you have enough counters that you're not worried about any face check. There is a 3 coster res on the table, so like the BOAC into half rune combo could be alive and well. But
mhm,
twinning coming along with a Fencer Funo means that we'll should have to work a bit, but we probably can start getting some of our twinning counters next turn.
yeah. Yeah, but Corp has managed to dig themselves out of a hole here. That anthill going, it's giving them cards and credits. We've got ice on the important servers, the reduced service, putting in work, even though it's literally just a 2 cost to run R&D right now. It's just that added additional cost that seems to be uh holding its own in the face
You know,
of this anarch economy.
it's not 2 cost to run RD, it's 8 credits to run RD, eh?
Is it? Oh, it's two
Yeah.
per.
It's
Oh,
two
that's
per. It's
wild.
really good. Yeah. Like
That
it's
is
it's a
wild.
bit better than it looks. The thing is like all other servers are the weak spot. So like you do have to spread yourself kind of horizontally. But yeah, 8 is an absurd amount to run RD, right?
Yeah, especially for a single. You just can't do that unless it's the last turn of the game.
So we'll see how impactful that is. Again, R&D might just hold with no ice in front of it. Now the anthill will get some pressure. Why not? Would love to trash that. That perfectly uses your fencer to charge your twinning. The big question is like what's on the remote server? If it's a code gate, what code gates are we expecting in Wayland that will end the run? Maybe an Afshar, maybe a white space, maybe we're
No.
splashing for a Sleipnir, but there's not that many code gates that see common play that hard end the run in Wayland.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, though, hitting a white space would be terrible for runner. They just don't have the economy to deal with that.
Yeah,
Until
as
the
long as we're at 10, we can tank it. But you're right. It's like one of the worst face checks you could guess.
yeah.
Looks like some more money. I think that's a hedge fund. So Kablushi's money, she has the good cash. Let's see if she can res something big. Again, anytime you see eminence in the deck, you have to expect there are bigger ice. And you can just for 4 credits res a big BOAC. As much as I do think the leech counters are going to make it not unreasonable to break with the echelon.
Mhm. But you can't. The other thing though is we're playing against Ob here. You can't rely on those leech counters. Like you know
Yeah.
that they're there, but at the same time, you have to play like they might not be there, as long as there's a single face down card in a remote, because anything could be a virus.
And
And if
speaking of, there's like 2 upgrades on top of that excavator. So I can't tell you what those are. I think this is the sort of list, especially with BOAC, that probably is running like a Stavka half rune combo. Because you can
Mhm.
even do that. If someone runs a BOAC, you can purge him a virus to get a half rune and just say your killer doesn't work. So if
Yeah,
there's a 3 coster, like you have to be scared, especially if it's a 3 coster that can trash itself.
yeah, everything in Ob is scary. It's kind of like you have to play around so many things. It's like, well, okay, they might have this, they might have this, they surely have this. Um, it's one of the things that makes the ID both really flexible and really frustrating in some ways.
Antil's going to finish. We did throw out our second Rising Tide, so the Rising Tide is a 2 strength. You have to watch out, especially if you're playing against Afroon. Like if you do lose all your fractors, I'm not sure if we're going to be running the full playset of Rising Tides. Most Lu decks don't, but like we saw Katurga, so maybe it can come back if you do lose it. I think I saw Katurga.
Yeah, well,
Holloman
let's yeah.
hitting the protected server again. That's on top of a Svi with 2 other upgrades. So Kablushi still, no, I don't think she has a start of turn window to move that thing over, because it has to see the start of turn trigger. So I don't know if we're going to be using the Hollow Man this turn unless we want to overwrite the Excavator.
Well, it looks like it was used to score something. A Zeph? Yep, that's an Azef. The other one was a Tucana in the remote.
Nice.
So we are Holomanning out the Azef from hand, crashing some cards, getting Tucana value, hitting a Katorga and a Fermenter. I'm sure that Fermenter would have loved to see play, but we are also at MU right now because we haven't seen that any of those Keikos. Um, and then getting a Event Horizon with the Tucana.
Nice. Now, we trashed the ice with the ESF. We undid that remote server. And again, having that extra remote server, even if it doesn't have anything in it, is technically a reliability with the reduced service. But like right now, outside of HQ, Kablushi has it locked down. I think Wino would love to get down the Buzzsaw, which you're assuming is the coder, and start opening up HQ, which also opens up R&D. But the Hollow Man can just continue to threaten to score at 3-2s from hand. So we'll see what Wino does with his pressure. It looks like we haven't drawn exactly all the tools we want. We haven't charged our 20 once as much as the Paladin will make it easy. Nuka to draw 3 off the top.
We see a Keiko, we see another Gachapon, and we see a Fermenter from hand. So I guess there were 2 in there, or maybe he drew it off of the Nuka. Um, Finally charging the twinning once and getting some value. Um,
Yeah,
I
there we
think
go.
that Keiko was really needed to kind of open things up. Double uh double leech is fantastic for getting through ice, but it does take up 2 MU. And that can slow you down when you need to find all your breakers.
Again, it's just the buzzsaws that we're looking for. So we'll see again. We have that last Gachapon. Apologies, I am watching on a delay, I'm pretty sure. So we do have that extra Gachapon. So we'll see if that cracks it again. The deck can't be more than 20 cards, maybe a bit less. So we'll see if we can find the thing.
Mm,
Oh yeah, reduced service is only unsuccessful on Essential. Interesting. That's very Earth Station coded.
yeah. Looks like we
All right.
might be slash and
Scoring on
burning
his F.
or a Zeffing.
Yeah, we have a Hollow in there, so we can just go ahead and pay 6 to do this again. This time we do have the Optex to fire. I think why not had a bus on hand? It probably would hit the table sooner than that Fermenter. So again, just tempo damage is tempo damage for sure.
Trashing the Hollow Man to a Zeph, which is an interesting choice.
Oh,
Um,
that was the decision. So this could get a one coster, could get a Malapert, and the Malapert actually could fire on this if you're just looking for like, um, I don't know. We don't have the click left to do a Mioshu, but Mioshu actually would have been game winning if we had a fair bit more money as well.
yeah. 4 credits isn't probably enough for that. Um, but I am a little surprised because the second SF gets to 5, and you
Hmm.
kind of feel like you want to have the Hollow Man there to threaten scoring the win from hand.
Now we saw Ice on HQ. The Tithe came out off the Tucana. We do know Kabushi is on slash and burn, so this technically can be game point. If you just go ahead and slash and burn from hand to 3-2, we're expecting one more SEF. Even just like slash and burning Eminence can just like creep you towards 7 points. And Why Not has a lot of work to do. No agendas in his score area, and it's just like not being able to find a code gate breaker. There's 2 code gates on centrals. Popping our Gachapon, you
Yeah,
see there, no decoder. Finding a Taka though, which is one of the easier guaranteed ways. I think you see a shrug from Why Not cannot find the thing that breaks these again very cheap code gates.
yeah. Yeah, that is the problem with these decks. When you put the copies in and they're all at the bottom of your deck, and you just kind of get stuck behind an Afshar and a Descent. You know, just trying to power draw to find that breaker, um, and have a chance to get through things.
Reduced service still makes it cost 8 credits to run R&D. That's bizarre. It's been there for like 6 turns. Why Not hasn't ran in a long time.
Yeah.
I think we just
Oh,
have a
that,
buzzsaw there. I
yeah.
think it might have just been ripped off the top.
Yeah. Is it too late though? Is the question.
This could be the final turn. Again, the Tithe on HQ tells you that there's something going on there. Looks like Kablushi gets the draw. Does she just have the slash and burn into a 3-2? There's only probably two more 3-2s on the list. I'd be surprised to see off the books, but again, this agenda suite does look a bit interesting. Looks like she doesn't just have it off the top. So losing the Holloman, she can still push in the remote server. She only has 4 credits to res ice and score out though. And another upgrade on R&D. I could not imagine what that is, but threatening in the remote server as long as she has a modicum of credits. We'll see if Wyna can force some reses here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, that's an upgrade that you want to keep safe for sure because there's very little way for the runner to run R&D at the moment. Um, would be Mavirus if I had to guess. Um, I suppose it could be a flagship. It could even be another Hollow Man, just with the idea of moving it over when it's safe to do
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah, and that seems to be the safest server, which is really funny. That reduced service does have good text. So why not thinking?
All
Did
right.
slide over the programs there for a second and undid it. So like kind of tells you that we do have maybe the buzzsaw on hand. Running the remote server can't be that expensive. I don't know what 3 coster comes at instant speed that like really cooks you here. Zato can sometimes be a bit worrying. We did see those, but the money just isn't there. There's our buzzsaw.
Yeah, finally, in turn 9, having the
Sounds
full
right.
breaker suite. Um, full breaker suite still not as much money as I think the runner would like. 9 credits is probably enough to get into the server. Um, but we'll see what's in there.
The twinning fully charged to be used on this turn if you can. And again, we're not on Hermes, so it's not like central pressure will be disruptive. Like why not just has to find enough agendas fast enough. And
Mhm.
while time in the round, I think we have about 15 minutes left. I think we're gonna get to a natural conclusion to this game either way.
Okay, we see the res upgrade there, and the red room.
Oh, sick.
Okay, now we are
That
gaming.
is cool. So this card will get counters if an agenda is scored or stolen, and this can end the run. So that means like whatever server we're running here, there are points in it. Axis is. We're seeing our whole twinnings worth. I can't tell off the stream anymore.
See a KPI and a measured, which goes away,
Again,
getting
we are on
tensor
threat
value.
4, so measure does matter.
And the third card looks like it looks like it was an agenda. Uh can't quite tell, but I think that's the new sacrifice zone.
Let's check. Yeah, the stream is just catching up. Yeah, that is sacrifice zone. It does look like that. So 2 points for why not. This will charge all your companions. I don't know if any of them are in problem situations, but very importantly, the red room has a counter as much as the what's it called? The reduced service loss to power counter. So
Mhm.
now Kabushi has the ability to end any run unless it's on the reduced service server, which is such an interesting combination. One protects everything, otherwise everything protects it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very weird working together style situation.
No, she's still threatening the win in the remote server. Hannah's probably going to challenge it. We can also clear the tag of the event horizon gets popped, but on 3 credits, she could just advance. And we know what she pushed was not the face-up agenda that she had in hand, so this has to be better than that. On three
Yeah.
credits, she's not going to res an antil. Could just be a regular Thorium virus. So
Looks
we'll
like
see what the call is here.
Mavirus into Regolith. Just getting some money back up.
Did why not run or just Hannah pass?
I think Hannah pass.
Interesting. Okay. Whether that agenda was safer in the remote server, I don't know if we had a time to install it face up in advance. There's actually a chance that might not be a sack zone. That's probably slash and burn, I think.
Hmm.
I think that's the Man in the Moon like alt art slash because I think we saw that earlier. I'm pretty
Okay,
sure if she had a sax zone, she might have jammed it.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that alt art, so
All right. I think my stream VOD has gone down.
yeah.
That's all right. So we're gonna be playing off of the VOD, so we'll have a bit of a delay on the commentary. But thanks for bearing with us for sure.
Yeah. So the question is, what's the runner what does the runner need to do here in order to get back into this game?
Well,
Like,
Wynot's turn was really good last turn, right? Like getting the slash and burn out of hand means that Klabushi can't win off at the top deck. The
mhm,
problem is like we kind of feel like we're in a quicksand situation where like the agenda steals means that the red room gets bigger, the reduced service is coming down. I think at some point you just have to tank the reduced service, right? Like pay 7 to run R&D and then trash all of those upgrades. You can
yeah.
maybe lock the top of R&D. We do have a shuffle effect, and there's still one unknown upgrade, but the regolith will shuffle if you put your mind to it.
This is where the companions really start proving their value, giving those recurring credits turn after turn to get past things like Tithe.
Have to kind of do this first, but I mean, her hand is probably clean, and she can even bleed a couple points before it's actually a huge issue.
Mhm. Yeah, and at the same time, I guess the question is, what is the finish here? Are we assuming that there's going to be is Corp saving up for a slash and burn, a 3-2 for the game?
I think she could
Are
be.
Like, is she going to try to push in a remote? Like, at this point, I don't know if that. When the runners push in a remote, like, at this point, I don't know if that. When the runner's completely set up like this, it's a lot harder to invest and believe that you could push something through a remote like that.
I think if her remote has like a Managarm or more likely a Zato, and she has the red room, she can actually present a problem where like why not has to run the remote server like 4 times in a turn. Now the problem is like the Hannah is there, which will help a heck of a lot. But I do think she has the remote play in sight, especially with the Event Horizon there if it doesn't get hushed. Which I'd be
Mhm.
surprised to see a hush, but it'd be pretty sick.
It's a good card.
Yeah.
People should play it more. All right, looks like
Can't tell what's going on.
able
It's
to
something to
get
do with the
into
archives.
archives, yeah. Spending to get through the big lizard there.
Oh, we ran R&D. We found points off the top. So now we have access. We're jumping or twinning into R&D. I believe we see after that either a spin doctor or a measured. It looks like it is a measured. First card though was some points. It's off camera. I can't tell if it's a 1 or 2 pointer for why not. But that means we're making a run on the server with the reduced service and the red room. So these are cards that we can definitely spend to trash. We'll see if we have enough Fuento credits because we only have 2 credits in our actual credit pool.
Mhm. But if you can get through that server to deal with it, that's how you do it, you know?
Getting our leech counters there, and the Fueno is going to deal with a couple cards. Looks like the reduced service you don't have to deal with. You making that successful runs, it itself has no text anymore. I don't expect a way to res it, but that red room had to go down, and for 3 credits, it's a bit expensive. A Why Not is down to no credits. Everything is just companions, Keiko, and Fermenter. So we do know the list is on creatives. We'll see if he has one to jump back up. But like this could be a window, especially if the regular gives you some money to push the remote server and say you have to go now.
Mhm.
Do we
You
know what the
also
upgrade? It's just some virus on the table hanging underneath the regolith, right?
that's a Tucana, I think.
Oh yeah, it's a Tucana, of course, yeah. Yeah, the
But
virus was purged.
you also do have to worry about measured play at this point, though.
Hmm.
Like, one of them was seen and trashed, but there are probably two more in the deck.